season, courtesy of our friends at Carter Bank and Trust. Carter Bank and Trust is proud to be a supporter of the Charlottesville Tom Sox. Carter Bank and Trust care about communities they are privileged to serve. Stop in at one Carter's local branch or visit cbtcares.com/member FDIC. Fans, for all the latest Tom Sox news, videos, and lots more, visit tomsox.com. And after you visit our website, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and post your photos to Instagram. Use the hashtag TomSox. You could win Tom Sox merchandise just by sharing your love of the Tom Sox on social media. And don't forget, the Tom Sox TV channel on YouTube. Watch for pre- and post-game videos on YouTube at Tom Sox TV. Be sure to check out the concessions and merchandise options available at the ballpark. The concession stand is located directly behind the press box. And the merchandise tent is in the parking lot. Fans, your Tom Sox travel to Covington tomorrow to battle these same Lumberjacks. The team will be back home on Monday night to take on the Stanton Braves. First pitch is set for 7 p.m. We have more information on our website, tomsox.com. The Charlottesville Tom Sox are a non-profit 501c3 organization and operate thanks for the generous support of our fans and corporate sponsors. Corporate sponsors have stepped up to support the Tom Sox and our goal of becoming a long-term community asset that will positively impact Charlottesville. We encourage you to do business with these companies. The Newhouse Realty Company, Zoom Indoor Cycling, First Heritage Mortgage, Charlottesville Moving Solutions, Stretch Lab, Greenwood Homes, Gary Albert State Farm, Pepsi-Cola Bottling Company of Central Virginia, Torch Clean Energy, Jillian Valentine, and Mudhouse Coffee. The Tom Sox would like to thank Crutchfield for their support. Your music will sound better on a sound system from Crutchfield. Crutchfield is the official audio supplier of the Tom Sox and is famous for providing exceptional customer service. Visit crutchfield.com or their store on 29 North, and for our friends from over the mountain, they have a store in Harrisonburg too. Special shout out to our media partners, Monticello Media and CBS 19. Tune in to Monticello Media's fine stations, Country 99.7, Hot 101.9, Generations 102.3, Seaville 107.5, and 94.1 The Oasis.
Don't text me, tell us to my face. No friends in the industry, my brothers been my brothers lately. They don't care to be a fact. Oh, yeah, you heard about me, you don't know me more than that. Yeah, I know hey, yeah. No friends in the industry, my brothers been my brothers lately. They don't care to be a fact. Whoa, I was never stepping when I chat before the app. Stood on everything I said and never took it back. Whoa, no friends in the industry, I had to draw the line between my brothers and my enemies, a fact. Let us start a beat, don't wanna keep it rap. Yeah, you hit us up and now we owe you something back. See, I was young angel, but you turned me evil. Yeah, I know you, but you really ain't my people. Yeah, I heard some people say they know him as my equal. Truth be told, that's funny, yeah, I don't hurt people. Ask about the boy and they gon' say he got the streets on him. So offensive, knowing they don't have no defense. Why they always act like we can fix it with a meeting? All they linking up, man, I'ma see you when I see you. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, brothers, but my brothers, man, they don't kill it, that's a fact, ayy. And I'm like she carry smoke, I'm on and off the track, ayy. And you let that with me, I put her on her back. You get Drizzy on the track, here, put you on the map. Oh, it's like that, ayy, yeah, it's like that, ayy. And I got a contract, it's a max, ayy. Since I got in contact, she attached. When I saw my first deal, that came through a fax. That should let you know how long I've been out here running laps. I've been running for a long time. Yeah, no friends in the industry, my brothers been my brothers, man. They don't kill me, a fact. Whoa, I was never stepping when I chat before the app. Stood on everything I said and never took it back. Whoa, no friends in the industry, I had to draw the line between my brothers and my enemies, a fact. Let us start a beat, don't wanna keep it rap. Yeah, you hit us up and now we owe you something back. Too dirty, gotta get him taken. And I gotta wait and let the tell you naked. We ain't try to know how you celebrating already. Disrespect is something I ain't tolerating. For me, I give them motivation. 80 circle shrunk and see some boys escaping. Rest of them is guilty by association. Hey, what? Debating who to go. And I make about the numbers all I know. And I make about the summer all I know. Better find someone else in here with all that smoke. Yeah, and all the tweets and all them posts. Ain't got the type of time.
Special thanks to the Building Goodness Foundation for joining us for tonight's Tom Sox game. They have a table right behind the press box. Come on by. Tonight's first pitch is sponsored by Mudhouse Coffee. Throwing out the ceremonial pitch will be longtime Tom Sox fan and all-around great gal, Rachel Hersheimer of NBC 29 here in Charlottesville. Go ahead, Rachel. Let's see some heat.
Yeah! Way to go, Rach!
Way to bring the heat, Rachel. Ladies and gentlemen, the Charlottesville Tom Sox are proud to represent our community in the Valley Baseball League, the gateway to the majors. We welcome you to the ballpark for tonight's game between the Covington Lumberjacks and your Charlottesville Tom Sox.
Squad, I can't believe it.
Now for today's starting lineups. First for the visiting Covington Lumberjacks. Batting first at center field from ASA College, number 10, John Urena. Batting second at second base from Eastern Kentucky University, number 2, Gavin Baird. Batting third at right field from Hines Community College, number 5, Joshua Rodriguez. Batting fourth at designated hitter from Seminole State College of Florida, number 24, Victor Rodriguez. Batting fifth at left field from Western Carolina University, number 19, Nate Stockham. Batting sixth at shortstop from Mansfield University, number 7, Asaph Loengart. Batting seventh at first base from Abilene Christian University, number 37, Justin Breen. Batting eighth at third base from the University of Mount Olive, number 29, Cooper George. Batting ninth at catcher from the University of South Alabama, number 39, Cole Ketzner. And on the mound for the Jacks from Seminole State College of Florida, number 27, Michael Guerrero. Covington's head coach is Logan Tolentino. He is assisted by Jacob Walker. Now the starting lineup for your Charlottesville Tom Sox. Batting first at center field from Duke University, number 1, Menelik Israel. Batting second at second base from Clemson University, number 5, Gavin Abrams. Batting third at designated hitter from Florida Southwestern State, number 19, Satchel Norman. Batting fourth at right field from Clemson University, number 27, Tristan Becerra. Batting fifth at left field from the University of Kentucky, number 2.
You are looking live at Charlottesville High School on a beautiful evening here in Charlottesville, Virginia. We are minutes from the first pitch of this matchup between the Tom Sox and the Lumberjacks of Covington as the Sox play in front of the home crowd here for the first time this season. Storylines abound in this matchup as the Ramon Garza era kicks off in Seville, and the Sox look to avoid a 2-game skid to start the 2022 season. And we turn it now to the Crutchfield press box. I'm Crawford Humphreys, excited to be joined today by Joe Callahan Jr. Joe, a tough loss for the Sox last night, going over to Harrisonburg. The Turks winning a walk-off. What did you see in last night's game?
Well, I think the main thing that kind of defined the game was the bat started off very, very slow. It was about 4 innings until the Turks got a hit, but it was also about 4 innings until a run got on the scoreboard. And it was partly because of slow bats. It's also because of Menelik tripped at third base when he was rounding early in the game, and that obviously was the tying run, and then couldn't get the ending exclamation point gave up too many runs at the end, and they really have to finish the games from the mound, but also start it off very early from the plate.
Interesting game for sure, and the Sox, of course, it's familiar territory. It's a new head coach in Charlottesville with Ramon Garza. His 2019 championship team also lost their home opener. It was also in Harrisonburg, so no need to worry just yet. But what do the Sox need to do today to get a win, even their season, and get things going?
I think it's just the mentality of respond now. It's, Garza's obviously going to put them into the mentality that he was in 2019. He can relate to the players at this point. And obviously, if that season started out that way, it's a pretty good way to start out the season, this one. So I think it's just the mentality of it's one game, it's just the start, it's how you end. And now you need to respond in front of your home crowd for the first time of the season.
Today's the first home game the Tom Sox will play in 315 days. The Sox are 4-2 all-time in home openers, and they've won the last 4 dating back to 2017. The past 2 seasons, they have hosted Covington in their home opener. Last year was a 9-5 victory for the Sox and a 9-3 victory back in 2019, of course, with the COVID-canceled 2020 season. But we are going to take a quick break for the national anthem and be back with the starting lineups after this.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch, we're so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
The Valley Baseball League promotes good sportsmanship by our student athletes, coaches, administration, and spectators. We
are back here at Charlottesville High School. Crawford Humphreys, Joe Callahan Jr. The Lumberjacks will lead things off to start this game, so let's go ahead and set the defense for the Tom Sox today. On the mound is Tom Vincent, the left-handed pitcher, a Houston, Texas native coming to Charlottesville from Rice. Catching for him will be Julian Rojas. Over at first base, Tyler McLaughlin. At second base, Gavin Abrams. Shortstop, Kyle Edwards. At third base, Tyler Shelnut. At left field, Tanner Kim. Center field, Manelik Israel. And in right field, Tristan Becerra with Satchel Norman, the designated hitter for today's game. Leading things off for the Lumberjacks, it will be John Urena, Gavin Byard, get the name right there, and Joshua Rodriguez. And the Sox takes the field for the home opener of the 2022 campaign.
Setting the defense.
Welcome to the show.
Tom Sox. At first base,
Vincent, a 6'3", 215-pound junior at Rice. He had a 1-1 record this season at Rice with an 11.57 ERA. Pitching ever crucial during summer league ball as the season drags on for months. Guys come and go, but pitching is something that really needs to stay consistent if the Tom Sox want to hoist the Jim Lineweaver Trophy once again.
And it was very consistent in the beginning of the game last night against Harrisonburg. I believe it was the 5th or 4th inning where they recorded their first hit, and then it just, kept the consistency up and then kind of tailed off towards the end. But again, the notion of the game is going to be finishing for them.
Summer League baseball really is a marathon, not a sprint. It's all about endurance, keeping guys healthy, keeping arms healthy for as long as possible. The Tom Sox will have a few replacements coming in later in the season, or guys being added to the roster as the College World Series wraps up and teams get eliminated and start sending their guys out to Summer League ball. This is the 41st meeting today between the Sox and the Lumberjacks. Charlottesville trying to protect a 6-game win streak over Covington. This is tied for the longest active win streak against any opponent. So an interesting matchup today as stands continue to fill here at Charlottesville High School. Of course, admission is free, courtesy of Carter Bank and Trust. So if you're at home right now thinking about coming out to today's game, we highly encourage it. Could not ask for better baseball weather tonight.
Yeah,
Great
not
day.
at all. It's not breezy, it's not cold, it's perfect baseball weather. Obviously, when you get into the point of the weather affecting games, that's going to be another telltale, opponent that you're going to have to deal with during out the season. But this is perfect for the first game, especially for the fans that are wanting to come out and pack the crowd.
Exactly, and trying to avoid those rain delays as much as possible. Those just compound the schedule with makeup games. It makes things messy down the stretch. So, praying that the weather will hold off for this season. And we are ready for the first at-bat of today's game. As Vincent delivers, and that ball is going to be low for ball one.
Just low though, still a good pitch. A lot of people were saying that the pitching was the calls were inconsistent.
Urena pop and chops that one over to third base. Charlotte able to get the throw over to McLaughlin, who makes the play at first. So a quick first out for the Sox.
Yeah, another thing worth mentioning last night as well is the fielding was very clean, especially in the beginning.
Gavin Bayard is coming in. He is the second hitter on this Lumberjacks lineup. Vincent with the delivery. That's good for strike one.
Very poised. Great pitch on the outer side of the strike zone.
Vincent gets set. The 0-1 to Bayard is going to be low, so even the count at 1-1.
Still staying consistent.
The 1-1 from Vincent. This one is going to be chopped over the pitcher's mound, and that is going to get through the glove of Kyle Edwards. Israel, the center fielder, is going to throw that one back in.
Hit right down the middle. It was a very hard play.
Edwards unable to scoop that one up. That's a tough play to make. So that will put Bayard on first for the Lumberjacks and bring Joshua Rodriguez to the plate. Ball one called for Rodriguez.
Seems like Vincent really wants to attack the outside of the strike zones in every batter he's faced so far. That in the low.
That pitch perfect. That'll even the count at 1-1. One out on the board, runner on first for Covington. Vincent pitched 11.2 innings for Rice this season. 11 strikeouts, 6 walks.
Checks the first. Last thing you want to do is have a stolen base in the first inning.
Vincent trying to maintain control here on the mound. The delivery to Rodriguez, and that ball is going to be hit foul. That one's going straight in the woods to the right side of Charlottesville High School. Can't imagine how much money worth of baseball is lost in those woods every season.
I'd imagine that there's kids going for that ball right now.
Plenty of poison ivy in there too. Not the best idea, but some kids are willing to do it. 1-2 now as Vincent delivers. Rodriguez fouls this one back into the fence behind home plate. Made a few people jump right in front of us.
Thank God for fences.
Very, very crucial. Stands continuing to fill up here at Charlottesville High School. Again, admission is free thanks to Carter Bank and Trust. Vincent, the delivery. And that ball is going to be hit but fall just foul over to the right. Rodriguez seeming to like the right side right now.
Yep. He's also swinging it a lot. If I was him, I would put it a little bit low and outside to see if he chases it. It's a good
Low and
bet.
outside is the prediction. 1-2 the count. And Vincent with the delivery. That's going to be up high. Even the count at 2-2.
Good eye by Rodriguez. Starting to get poised back there. He was getting a little bit on the skid, fouling off balls.
2-2, 1 out now for Vincent. Rodriguez is going to chop that one foul. Over towards the Lumberjacks dugout. A little friendly fire there.
Coach gave him the wrong signal.
Runner still at first base for the Lumberjacks, who are looking to make some noise early. 2-2 for Rodriguez. He's going to foul this one. So the count will stay at 2-2. Once again, going into the back of the fence. Thank goodness for fences once again.
Rodriguez is attacking the top a lot when Vincent throws it. It's another reason why I kind of predicted that lower and inside, but maybe he goes to it this pitch.
Two-two. Vincent with the delivery to Rodriguez and a swing and a miss. Strikeout for Tom Vincent.
It was low and outside enough.
And that puts 2 outs on the board for the Tom Sox here in the top of the first inning. That's got to be a huge confidence boost for Vincent, getting that first strikeout under his belt after that single.
Of course. The number one thing that you want to do as a pitcher is strike out batters, especially in the top of the first at home.
Victor Rodriguez, the designated hitter, up to bat now for Covington. Vincent will deliver that one low in the dirt. Good job by Rojas of corralling that ball, and that is a 1-0 count for Rodriguez.
Probably heard that, but he might be throwing a fastball.
Yeah, fans are calling for some heat from Vincent. We'll see what he delivers with the 1-0 on the way.
Fan interaction.
Big swing and a miss from Rodriguez. 1-1 the count now.
Fastball right down the middle. He's listening to these fans.
And Vincent's confidence, you can visually see it growing throughout this half inning. The 1-1 delivery is going to be outside. Rojas hinted at throwing it to McLaughlin at first, but held off on it.
I was just going to mention they're constantly checking that first base runner.
2-1 the count, 2 outs. Runner on first for Covington. Vincent with the 2-1, big swing. This is a big dig there by Rodriguez. 2-2 now the count.
Low and outside, he's chasing it. A good thing, especially in the beginning of the game, is to find out what pitches in what areas in the strike zone that batters are willing to chase.
Vincent seems to be doing a good job of that as Baird takes off from first. Will the throw be in time? And he is going to be, see what they call it. They're going to call him out. Interesting.
Wow.
It looked like the umpire made the
that's
safe
what I was
motion.
going to say. I was going to say the throw was a little bit to the left, but it was a good throw by Rojas.
So Rojas able to make the big play over at second. A huge throw from behind home plate. A little bit of umpire confusion, but it gets the job done for the Sox.
And again, it's a very consistent game from the mound. We saw that at Harrisonburg last night, coming back in at home tonight. Now I'm waiting for these batters to start going, especially early. Set the momentum early, and this game might be over before it starts. Or before it really starts.
So now time to set the lineups for the visiting Covington Lumberjacks. Michael Guerrero going to be on the mound to start things off today for Covington. Cole Ketzner will be the catcher behind home plate. Justin Breen over at first. Gavin Baird at second base. Asaf Lavengard over at shortstop. Cooper George at third base. Nate Stockham over in left field. John Urena, center field. Joshua Rodriguez in right field. And Victor Rodriguez is the designated hitter, as we saw earlier. So we'll see what Guerrero has. This is a pretty stout Tom Sox lineup coming up to bat, and it is led by Menelik Israel from Duke. He singled on the first pitch of the game on Friday, got the Tom Sox going there in a game that obviously ended in pretty brutal fashion to start the season. But like we said, Ramon Garza's 2019 championship team started off with a loss in Harrisonburg as well. So not unfamiliar territory for the Sox.
And a big reason why I keep bringing up starting the bats early as such a point in this game is because once the bats started going for the Tom Sox, it's starting to rear. Now, they did leave a lot of base runners, stranded at the end of innings a lot in later games, and that's why obviously they weren't able to put out the win there. But getting that momentum kind of fixes that, especially if you do it in the first or the second innings.
Leading off for the Tom Sox from the Blue Devils of Duke University, the center fielder #1, Menelik Israel.
Menelik Israel coming to the plate to start things off for the Sox. The Duke Blue Devil playing in a little bit of enemy territory here in Charlottesville.
I don't think he's minding it.
Guerrero delivers, and Israel immediately going to make contact. That one's going to be fouled down the first base line. 0-1 the count.
Just foul, too. If that could have stayed a little bit to the left, he might have had extras.
Guerrero with the delivery. That one's going to be high. Even the count at 1-1.
Great eye for him.
As we mentioned, Israel with one hit so far on the season. It's that first pitch of the game on Friday with a single coming out of Duke University. Delivery from Guerrero and a swing and a miss from Israel. 1-2 the count now.
That was a good pitch to swing at. It was a little bit outside, maybe a little bit inside the strike zone on the outer ring. Just couldn't get contact with it, but he's staying poised at the plate and a good eye from him.
Delivery from Guerrero and another swing. That'll be the first strikeout of the day for Covington, and it comes at the expense of Israel, who walks back over to the dugout. One out now on the board for Covington.
Just again, couldn't get contact on that, but you live with those swings. Just has to stay disciplined when the ball comes closer to the plate.
Gavin Abrams, the second baseman, now up to bat from another ACC school, Clemson. A lot of ACC action thus far for this Tom Sox lineup. Abrams reached base 3 times and stole 2 bases in the season opener. Definitely made an impact there as he watches the first pitch from Guerrero for ball 1. That ball also low and away. 2-0 the count.
See, Guerrero is still trying to figure out what batters are going to chase. Not chasing on the outside and low balls.
In his freshman year at Clemson, Abrams was 1 for 3 with 2 RBIs. The 2-0 delivery from Guerrero is going to fall strike. 2-1 the count now with 1 out on the board.
Good pitch to watch. 2-0 count is a very good time to watch if you're going to, unless if he gives you a meatball as well. But really great point in the count to see where the pitcher's going to go.
Another strike thrown by Guerrero. He's feeling it up there on the mound. Count is now 2-2. Making quick work of this Tom Sox lineup thus far.
Great pitch on the outer corner.
Guerrero the delivery, that one inside.
Almost hit that back knee there.
Yeah, Abrams wisely letting that one fly, letting that one sail past him.
I don't know if that's the way you want to get your first base runner on, by a hit by pitch in the knee. But
3-2 the count, and that is outside.
they will take the walk regardless without contact.
Exactly.
That is a good way to get your first base runner on
So
base.
Abrams will take his place at first base. Tom Sox showing their first signs of life here in the bottom of the first inning as Satchel Norman, the designated hitter, comes up to bat. Norman coming to Charlottesville from Florida Southwestern. He's a Sarasota, Florida native. He had a walk and a stolen base in that season opener that we keep mentioning over in Harrisonburg.
To look forward into it, it's also a great chess piece in this game because Charlottesville has to travel to Covington right after this game for tomorrow's game. It's kind of a feel-out game.
Grow the delivery. That one's going to be high and inside to Norman for 1-0. But you're right. That's one of the biggest parts of Summer League ball is just the constant road travel. Just bussing up and down I-81 here in Virginia, Central Virginia. Late nights and some early mornings as well. A little check swing there by Norman. They're going to call that strike, 1-1.
I think he wanted that, but he thought it was going to come back up instead of shaking back down into the strike zone. But you saw that check swing. He knew that that was coming down. He just predicted wrong.
Guerrero is going to check Abrams over at first base. Abrams sliding back.
Again, the same thing with Vincent. Last thing you want is a stolen base. Almost had it in the first, the top of the inning, but obviously the third out was that pitch out from stolen base at second.
Pitch from Guerrero is going to be called a ball, so that is 2-1 now for Norman.
Right up in the face region. He's still trying to see what they're going to swing at. Some batters actually get fooled by that. That is going to hit in your face. If you hit it in a curve that comes across their face, that's a good pitch to follow that way.
Norman, that ball is over the fence. Looked like it bounced off the ground. Was that off the bat of Norman and then kicked up over the fence?
Yeah, it looked like it either was off the plate or the helmet of Ketzner, or if it was off the bat. But either way, they're going to stop Abrams at second.
So Abrams will advance on, I don't even know what to call that, but
well, yeah, if he's advancing and it counts as a stolen base, I would imagine that it wasn't off the bat and it was off of the helmet of Ketzner.
That ball flying over the fence behind home plate. Fans having to clear out of the way. Norman back in the batter's box here. 3-1 the count. And we'll see what Guerrero cooks up here. The delivery, this one is going to be hit directly to the shortstop. Lavin Gord is going to make the throw over to first to Breen for the out. Abrams will hold up at second base. So 2 outs on the board now for Covington.
It's a good hit. The one thing, again, if you don't get the bats raring into the outfield, a good thing is to just get contact on it. Just put the ball in play, because there's a lot of games where you go into where it's either a foul ball every time, you get into 6 innings out and you still don't have a hit. You know, maybe some walks and base runners, but to at least get contact with the bat and the ball, you know, starts momentum.
Abrams at second. They're going to call that strike because it appeared that Becerra took a little bit of a cut there at it. That ball was way inside.
Yeah, I don't know if that was a check swing. I mean, I don't know if that was a full swing. I feel like that was enough for a check.
Becerra had his first collegiate home run back in Harrisonburg, and it was a bomb.
That was a great one.
Check out the Tom Sox Twitter and Instagram for a video of it. It was a bomb.
Right over the right field wall.
Becerra, that ball's going to come down the middle for strike 2. So a quick 2 strikes here.
Again, another close call, maybe in the top corner of that strike zone, but it's another close call. I mean, another thing that you have to do in baseball as a batters is try to see how the ump works, where he's calling strikes that may be questionable calls.
And a strikeout for Becerra. Guerrero with the confidence as he walks off the mound. And we are scoreless here at Charlottesville High School. We're going to take a break here in the Crutchfield press box and come back for the top of the second inning.
Fans, it's time for a ballpark favorite, Dizzy Bat. Let's send it down to Abby and Margaret to meet our contestants.
Alrighty, you guys, I'm here with James and Kite, and we're gonna play some Dizzy Bat. Are y'all ready? 3, 2, 1, go! Oh boy. Who's gonna win? Who's gonna win? Kite's got it, Kite's got it! Go, 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 go! Run! Oh, I think that has to be a tie. I think so. Both you can. Both you can. Y'all text.
Crawford Humphreys and Joe Callahan Jr. back live in the Crutchfield press box at Charlottesville High School. It is a scoreless game here as we head to the top of the second inning of play. Rubber match here between the Charlottesville Tom Sox and the Covington Lumberjacks. The Sox with their first home game of the season, also the first home game of the Ramon Garza era. Some of you might remember him from that 2019 championship team. He played an integral part in the Sox hoisting the Jim Lineweaver Trophy that year.
Great player, especially from the dish. He was such a great, consistent batter, and again, that's what they have to find this season. And if anybody from that 2019 team can coach this team to that success, it's him.
Garza had a .289 batting average, 27 runs scored, and a team-leading 6 stolen bases during that 2019 championship year. One of the team's leaders, and he is the perfect spot for this coaching position as we get things going again here in the top of the second inning. Tom Vincent from Rice still on the mound for the Sox.
Still trying to find where these batters are going to bite. Still going through the first rotation of the lineup. Vincent's got to find where these batters are reaching. Some go low, some go out, some go high.
So the count is 2-0 early to Nate Stockham. Stockham, the left fielder for Covington, as Vincent quick to deliver again. And that ball going to be inside. 3-0 the count. Vincent now with some work cut out for him to battle back in this at-bat.
It seems to me like he's seen something about maybe film from college or something about Stockham in the low. Again, another low one.
And that one is called strike. 3-1 the count now.
Looks like maybe he has a history of biting over low strikes or trying to hit that low strike zone to try to slip one in there. It looks like he's definitely making it a point of emphasis.
That ball is going to be low in the dirt for Vincent. And Stockham will take his base as he trots over to first.
Now batting.
It was definitely
from
at that
the
bat
Mansfield Mountaineers,
a
the
point of
shortstop,
emphasis
number
to
7,
try to attack, either to make him swing low or to sneak one in on the low strike zone, because every pitch from that at-bat was low.
Asaph Loengart, the shortstop for Covington, up to bat now. Stockham over on first, taking a lead. Vincent eyeing him, getting his eyes set. And the delivery was a great pitch there for strike one.
Right down Broadway, had to get back and set into a new batter after, again, making it a point of emphasis to try to attack Stockham.
That ball going to be outside.
Getting poised out there. Vincent's doing a very good job from the mound. We'll live with that walk because he seems like he sells something.
Vincent delivers and a big swing.
Great heat. Again, a little bit lower, but such a great fastball.
Loengart went hard for that one. One, two, the count. Runner on first. Another low ball there from Vincent. That one not going to make the strike zone, so 2-2 the count.
Still staying poised. When you have 1-2 in the count, you try to find those areas. It's a great place to try to find something because you're up in the count.
That ball low as well. So 3-2 the count. Vincent in danger of putting 2 on base for Covington here in the top of the second inning.
So has to stay poised. Put one down Broadway, not a meatball.
Vincent checks Stockham over at first. He's able to get back to the base in time.
As I was saying, you have to check them, not down Broadway, right down the middle, but somewhere close to it so you know that it's going to be in the strike zone.
And Loengart's going to call time. He's going to step back into the batter's box now. Payoff pitch on the way from Vincent. This one is going to be chopped down the third base line. And the Sox able to make the out at second.
Good decision to try to go for a second base runner in Stockham instead of throwing it to first or trying. Also, not trying the double play on there because it's again you just have one on first now, and also you run the risk of again that being that close to cost your team an error, maybe put someone on second regardless.
That was Tyler Shellnutt over at third who made the snag and threw it over to Abrams at second. It was Abrams who put the brakes on it and let Loengart take his place at first. But that puts one out on the board. 1-0 the count. Justin Breen now up to bat.
Vincent is falling in love with the lower strike zone.
Interesting. Interesting to see if he's been watching film or if that's just his tendency.
Well, against Stockholm, I felt like it was watching film.
He delivers the 1-0 for a strike.
Another low one. Maybe he's watching this team and a lot of them, or just seeing a trend in baseball, period, of people reaching for low balls because that is a trend that you sometimes do see in teams.
Vincent with the 1-1. That ball going to be low. 2-1 the count. Vincent is Mr. Texas through and through. From Houston, started off at Texas A&M. Transferred to Rice and left the Lone Star State to come to Charlottesville for the summer. Key part of this Tom Sox pitching group as Vincent delivers the 2-1. That one low as well. 3-1 the count now, and Vincent once again battling with 3 balls on the board.
Really making a point of emphasis to attack the lower strike zone. It just keeps popping its head up.
Loengart taking a lead over at first. The 3-1 delivery. And a swing and a miss. Breen bit that one hard. 3-2 now the count, and another payoff pitch. Back-to-back payoff pitches now on the way, and 2 at-bats.
Yeah, and another one low. Maybe he saw something in batting practice where they weren't getting great hits off of low pitches.
Vincent's going to check Loengart over at first. Take his time getting set back on the mound. 1 out on the board, 0-0. Still scoreless here at Charlottesville High School.
And sometimes pitchers do check the first to reset. Maybe this is a reset for him.
Payoff pitch on the way, and that is going to be hit foul. Some more friendly fire from Covington.
Maybe that third base coach again gave him an undesirable call.
Yeah, Cooper George, the batter on deck, had to move out of the way for that one. That one chopping back towards the dugout. Vincent delivers, and a big strikeout on the payoff pitch.
Great pitch. Attacked the lower strike zone the entire at-bat. Went inside for the payoff pitch first time, and then the second one around got it right on the outer ring, and this ump seems to be a little bit outside in the strike zone for both teams. And obviously Vincent has seen that because now he's starting to attack the outside and low.
So Vincent keeping his composure after 2 full counts. 2 outs on the board now. Lowengarde on first for Covington. Cooper George up to bat, and the first pitch to George is going to be called strike.
Again, trying to get set at the mound.
Delivery from Vincent, that's another strike.
Starting to get it up in the strike zone now. Still a little bit lower, but more in the middle.
Vincent with a chance to get the Sox out of the inning. The 0-2 delivery is going to be low and in the dirt. Rojas going to try and make the throw and get Lowengarde out at first, but that is not in time.
Close call. Great throw by Ross.
Ross did a good job of corralling that ball in the dirt and getting the throw in to McLaughlin. Just not in time. So 1-2 now the count. 2 outs. Runner on first. What's Vincent going to serve up here? That's going to be another low ball. And the count is going to even up at 2-2.
Loving to check the batter at first. It's been a pattern for both teams now. Vincent has thrown over to first about 4 times now. And again from the plate as Rojas is again checking the first base runner.
So a quick umpire conference gave Rojas and Vincent a chance to chat for a little bit. Get things set here, 2-2 with 2 outs. 2s across the board. Still 0-0 though here at Charlottesville High School. For all those still at home, we encourage you to come out to tonight's game. Beautiful weather, and you can't beat free admission, courtesy of Carter Bank and Trust.
Taking off Roz's helmet. Looks like it may be something that has to do with his face.
Trainers are coming over right now. That's head coach Ramon Garza waving them over.
I'll tell you what, if he got injured, that was a really good pop-up to check the base runner at first through the injury. Hopefully it's just something, minor. Still in his gear. It doesn't look like he's coming out, but again, they're still checking up on him. So maybe blood on the jersey, something under those lines where they have to, still check him out, but they're taking a long time to delegate it.
Garza and the trainers giving him some attention right now. Rojas done a good job behind the plate thus far. Vincent hasn't really given him too much crazy stuff to work with. Rojas hasn't been chasing balls around the backstop just yet. Vincent's been pretty in control so far this game.
Very poised from the mound. It was a pattern last game at Harrisonburg. It's a pattern today in the start by Vincent, and hopefully it continues throughout the season. Still checking Rojas out.
It's 1 2/3 inning pitch so far for Vincent. As he has to stay loose. Rojas standing up, getting a drink of water.
I think the other side of Vincent's pitching debut is he also has 3 strikeouts in 2 innings, or 1.5, basically. So again, dishing from the mound. And it looks like Ross is going to stay in the game. Maybe just something minor. Something like maybe a cut on the face, bloody nose, something like that. They were checking him out for a long time. Still checking him out is the umpire. But he's raring on, put the mask back on. He's back in the game.
Rojas gets some applause from the home crowd here. Gets a fist bump from Cooper George as George steps into the batter's box. And the fans here at Charlottesville High School want a strikeout to end this inning. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Pitch on the way from Vincent. That ball is going to be fouled towards the Tom Sox dugout. It will stay 2-2.
Looks like George was a little bit frustrated with himself right after the hit. Maybe he was mad at chasing the ball a little bit inside. But a great pitch from Vincent to try to get him to chase.
Pitch on the way from Vincent. That one's going to be fouled directly into the fence behind home plate. Vincent still searching for strikeout number 4.
Said it once, I say it again. Thank God for fences. That might have hit us.
That might have come into the Crutchfield press box. It was the right trajectory for sure as Loengart takes a lead at first. 2s across the board. 0 still the score. As that ball is going to be low, it's going to bump off the shin guard of Rojas. Loengart's going to go over to second base. Rojas just a little trouble corralling that.
Still attacking low. And it does look like George is a little bit hovering over the plate. Maybe that's why Vincent was attacking the inner part of the strike zone in the first one. If I was him, I might go back to that later. Or right there.
3-2 the count. We've seen that plenty of times this half inning. Vincent facing it once again. This time with the chance to get the Sox out of the inning. Vincent winds up, payoff pitch on the way. That one is going to be skied. Going after it is Tristan Becerra, and he's going to come in from right field to make the 3rd out. So the Sox once again escaping without any damage. Covington with a runner in scoring position if they strand.
And another great inning from Vincent. Another great inning from the pitching crew of the Tom Sox. Very consistent.
Tom Sox showing their stuff defensively thus far. Still 0s across the board as we head to the bottom of the 2nd inning here at Charlottesville High School.
Newhouse is a full-service real estate brokerage.
Sox looking to even up their record at 1-1 and avoid a 2-game skid to start this season. It's Michael Guerrero back on the mound for Covington, getting warmed up right now.
Commonwealth of Virginia. Newhouse Realty Company, we thank you for your support.
Again, you want to get these batters started now. The consistency from the pitching crew is there. Obviously, it was a pattern, as we mentioned. There needs to be a pattern to get the bats started early. And again, you're kind of in that phase where Guerrero is trying to feel out every batter, try to see where they're reaching, try to see where they're staying, trying to see how the umpire works. But if you can get the bats raring early, it's not only a mental thing for Guerrero to be, I don't know where to put the ball in the strike zone to any batter on the team, but it's also the momentum push of the team to be like, now we're taking this momentum and we're not stopping.
The Sox have scored double-digit runs in 2 of the last 3 matchups against the Lumberjacks. Both of those performances coming in Covington. It will be interesting to see if the Sox can have a similar batting performance today. It's Tanner Kim,
from the Kentucky Wildcats, the left fielder, number 2.
left fielder from Kentucky. Some SEC action to counter all the ACC action we've seen thus far.
They have a great mix of players from a great mix of programs on the Tom Sox roster.
Kim, a native of Knoxville, Tennessee, he fouls that one over the fence behind home plate and into the woods behind the field here at Charlottesville High School. Again, I can't imagine how much money worth of baseballs is sitting in that field right now as Guerrero delivers to Kim. And that will even the count at 1-1. That pitch called a ball.
And if I'm a kid in this crowd right now, I'm going to the snack bar action if there's a promotion and then going hunting.
Kim had a single in the season opener, but he will take the 3rd pitch of this at-bat for a strike. The count 1-2 now for the Wildcat Kim. Sophomore over at Kentucky. As that ball high and inside will even the count at 2-2. This isn't Kim's first go-around in Summer League ball. Last summer in the Perfect Game League, he had 9 doubles, 25 RBIs. He was batting .311. As Guerrero delivers and a big swing and a miss. That'll be strike 3. And a strikeout to lead things off for Guerrero and the Lumberjacks.
Highlanders, the catcher, number 23, Julian Rojas.
That's Julian Rojas, the catcher, who we saw get banged up last half inning. coming into bat.
You saw Tanner have a little bit of a conversation with him. Tanner also is reaching for an outside ball. Maybe he's telling Ross something right before he goes up.
Rojas coming to Charlottesville from Radford, so another in-state school. He's a junior over there and a native of Humble, Texas. He scored a run in the season opener. And looking for similar action today as that ball is skied up. Ketzner going after it, but it is going to fall over the fence. So 1-1 the count with 1 out on the board, courtesy of that strikeout from Guerrero. As the Sox still looking to make some noise here and break this game open.
And we saw it from Harrisburg. Once the bat started, they didn't stop. They just left too many people on base. Hopefully that doesn't happen tonight for them.
That ball outside, 2-1 the count. Rojas with a productive season for Radford, batting .300 with 26 runs, 4 homers, and 30 RBIs. That ball is going to be hit, and it is going to fall over in right field. So a base hit for the Sox.
Now hopefully it's starting. That single is a great thing for this team.
It's a little blooper over into right field. It's going to put Rojas over on first base, and the Sox don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, but a little bit of momentum to get the Sox going today. With 1 out on the board, runner on. Tyler McLaughlin, the first baseman, now up to bat.
Here's where you open it.
McLaughlin lets that ball go low for ball 1. McLaughlin coming from Emory, native of Milton, Georgia. Second game starting at first base. He also started there in the season opener. That ball high and inside for ball 2. So McLaughlin getting ahead of this count. A junior over at Emory, he had 21 runs, 6 homers, 22 RBIs. As he gets set for the delivery from Guerrero, that ball is going to be outside. Quick 3-0 count now for McLaughlin. Guerrero with his work cut out for him with the Sox in danger of putting runners on first and second.
Yeah, it also seems like the ump is starting to creep back. As we saw in the beginning of the game, the outer strike zone was a little bit outside. Now he's starting to seem like he's bringing it back to the plate.
Guerrero with a strike to try and bring things back in this at-bat. The count 3-1 now with 1 out.
Good watch. A lot of players have a little thing against swinging at 3-0.
And another strike from Guerrero. Really battling back now. 3-2. Payoff pitch on the way with Rojas standing over at first.
That one was a great pitch. Almost right down the middle.
McLaughlin gets set, that delivery. That ball is going to be in the dirt. And that is going to put runners on first and second now for the Tom Sox as Rojas takes second. McLaughlin takes first. The Sox in danger. They got a runner in scoring position. Covington in danger of letting the Sox score their first run and opening this game.
If they can get a hit here, it's going to open up the floodgates for the rest of the game.
Tyler Shelnut, the third baseman, he had a big play earlier in the game. He is up to bat now with runners on first and second. That ball looked like he clipped him.
It looks like it did hit him.
It's going to go past Ketzner, so runners will advance to second and third. Now 2 runners in scoring position. Definitely looked like it clipped. That ball clipped him, though. I mean, you could hear it.
Maybe it was the end of the bat, but I saw, or I think that I saw, that it hit him in the elbow or the hand. It looked like it might have.
So 1-0 the count with 1 out. 2 runners in scoring position for the Sox. Guerrero in a perilous situation here in the bottom of the second inning.
And it looked like they're deliberating something, maybe whether or not it did hit him.
Shelnut from University of Florida, one of many Tom Sox over the past couple seasons to come from Gainesville.
I think the main thing right now is if you have race runners on second and third, again, not only was it when they were on second and first, but this is the best spot that you can be in at this point in the game. Bottom of the second, 2 runners in scoring position, only 1 out. This is where you have to let the bats fly.
This is Sheldon's Tom Sox debut. He did not have an at-bat in that game against Harrisonburg, but a chance to make an impact here. As he calls time, steps out of the batter's box. He's going to get set. 1-0 the count.
Great timeout, trying to ice Guerrero after the long pause on the errant pitch.
As Garza in the dugout watches on, Guerrero gets set. That ball is going to be in the backstop, and a little bit confusion between the Tom Sox base runners. They're going to try and go home.
They started to go, but they do get a run in.
So Rojas will cross home plate. There was a little bit of confusion.
In that situation, it wasn't ideal for them to go. Rojas kind of went in the middle of third and home, confused, you know, and when he started to go back, it was a best case scenario for that stint afterwards if he's going to throw to second, cross home plate, and put 1 on the board at the least.
That was Rojas who crossed home plate. Some confusion between him and Tyler McLaughlin. McLaughlin took off towards third, thinking Rojas was going to go all the way, and McLaughlin used his speed, and by the time he was at third, Rojas was turning around to go there as well. So he will be out, but Rojas will be the opening run in today's game.
And you live with that. When you have base runners in scoring position, you at least want 1 in, and that's what they got. You want both of them, but you at least get the 1 in, and maybe, just maybe, that this sets the momentum up for the batters next coming.
That's going to be another walk for Guerrero as Shelnut takes off towards first base. 2 outs, but 1-0 the score, courtesy of some confusion on the base paths and a passed ball by Guerrero.
Kyle
Edwards now up to bat for the Sox.
Ideally, you do want to start off the game with the ball in play. Again, you live with what transpired into the run, because obviously you're not going to take the run off the board. But now Edwards is in a prime position to start at least putting something in play.
Edwards coming off of a single in last night's game. He's a Virginia native from Chesapeake, plays at ODU, another in-state school.
And I think it's regardless whether or not if they get that run in at first. I would love to see something in the field of play.
Edwards takes a big cut at that pitch. That'll be a quick 0-2 hole for him against Guerrero.
Guerrero dealing from the mound as well. From his perspective, it's staying poised in the situation. You didn't give up a hit. The momentum is a little bit swayed towards the Tom Sox, but right now, it's really anyone's game at this point. It's not like the floodgates have opened yet. He's got to keep the Tom Sox, you know.
Shelnut getting set with Edwards at first. He's going to pop this one up. Going after it is the center fielder, Urena, and it looks like he missed the ball.
I thought that was a great play. It was a diving play, a little bit confusion by him and Stockham coming in for it. But that's what you take, again, when you get those, you know, give me balls, when you get one blasted down into the outfield, no matter how you get it. Now you have another base runner in scoring position. You have something in the field to play now. This is where the momentum starts to come alive. And again, another thing for Vincent is Guerrero, I mean, he's going to have to try to stymie it. He has to get an out here to try to keep this game from getting nuts.
Runners on the corners with 2 outs. This one popped up, and Ketzner able to make the catch to end the inning. But the Sox are able to put 1 on the board. The score is 1-0 here at Charlottesville High School. Sox on top. 3rd inning on the way.
No errors and 2 runners left on base. Heads up for stress balls from our friends at Carter Bank and Trust. If you want them, we need to hear it from you.
Welcome back to Charlottesville High School. Crawford Humphreys, Joe Callahan Jr. here. The Sox up 1-0 after 2 innings played against the Covington Lumberjacks. Catcher Cole Ketzner up to bat, looking to even things up. Here in the top of the 3rd inning, Tom Vincent from Rice back on the mound for the Sox. He's made solid work of the Lumberjacks thus far. As that ball, right as I said that, is going to be hit straight into center field. Israel is going to collect that and throw it back in. So a single to lead things off here in the top of the 3rd. Peak announcer's jinx right there, but
I think that the main thing about that at bat was they're kind of knowing now that he's trying to get it in the lower strike zone, and that's another one that was a little bit low that they're biting on, because if he's putting it low and they know where the pitch is going, it's kind of easy to get the hit if you are, poised at the plate.
We are back to the top of the lineup here for the Lumberjacks. That's a passed ball by Vincent, and it's going to allow Ketzner to get over to second base. We're back to the top of the order here for the Lumberjacks. This is John Urena, the center fielder, with 1 ball and 0 strikes on the board. Runner in scoring position already for Covington. Vincent trying to maintain his composure here on the mound and get things back in check as that ball is hit foul right over the Tom Sox bullpen.
Another souvenir for a kid that wants to go in the woods.
1-1 the count now. No outs on the board. As we said, runner in scoring position. What do you think the key is for Vincent here in this inning?
I think it's just staying poised and trying to open up the rest of the strike zone. As again, that's another lower one, but it is look like it popped up.
It's going to be in foul territory, but going over to get it is Becerra. He is going to be able to get under it and make that catch. However, that will allow Ketzner to advance to third base.
And I think now the story is trying to get out of the inning, still leading at the worst, tied again. There's no outs right now, or the 1 out that just occurred right now. Obviously another base runner in scoring position. 1 hit gets him in. The momentum immediately shifts over to the Lumberjack side. He needs to stay poised and, again, open up the rest of the strike zone. He's been attacking the lower part, and I think that the Lumberjacks are catching on at this point.
This is Gavin Barrett up to bat, the number 2 hitter for the Lumberjacks. After Urena's pop out in foul territory that was caught by Becerra over in right.
Another low one. Low one outside, but another low one.
Ketzner 90 feet from tying this thing up as Vincent delivers. That ball low and outside. 2-0 the count now.
He's seeing something with it. It has to be planned and lower in the strike zone, because almost every batter he's attacking it and attacking it. Maybe trying to set up something, but he's definitely seen something about the lower part of the strike zone.
That ball is going to bounce off the glove.
That is an unfortunate way to give up a run.
Unfortunate error. That brings home Ketzner. He just has to trot 90 feet as that ball goes straight into the backstop here at Charlottesville High School.
And much like the Tom Sox, when they, get up to the plate, now the momentum is seeming to switch back in the Lumberjack side. But again, it's teetered toward the middle now, because that wasn't putting the ball in the field of play.
So Covington ties it up. My apologies for the confusion, because it appears we have a new catcher in the game. It's Hunter Suit from Alabama, the Tuscaloosa native. After Rojas had sought medical attention last inning, it's going to be a ground out there from Josh Rodriguez.
Now batting, the right fielder, number 5, Joshua
poises as it right now is putting the ball in play, trying to get the momentum on your side for the Lumberjacks, trying to, teeter that and open the floodgates for themselves. But hopefully, hopefully Rojas is okay, obviously. Never want to see somebody get injured, especially this early in the season.
So that ground out was corralled by Abrams. Throw over to McLaughlin. I think we have everything settled here, as this is a pop on the infield track, easily picked up by Abrams. And that will end the inning, but not before Covington ties things up. And just to clarify, that is Hunter Suit, the new catcher for the Sox. We, of course, hope Rojas is okay after he got some medical attention last inning. Didn't stop him from some production on the offensive side, though.
And I think the other thing is that one errant pitch does put a runner on the board. But to be honest with you, if you're going to put it, you live with that. He's been attacking the lower part of the strike zone or of the plate this entire game. When you try to get and trying to make them reach for it at that point, when they know that now it's coming low, trying to put it a little bit lower maybe was his motive. But you live with that. The momentum has not shifted to the Lumberjacks side, but now at the plate you need to push it back to your spot. Right now it's about right in the middle.
We head to the bottom of the third here at Charlottesville High School. Guerrero back on the mound. It looks like some action starting over in the Covington bullpen. Still nothing over on Seville's end, just some guys stretching out, but Covington does have guys throwing right now. So it'll be interesting to see when we do see a pitching change. Guerrero has allowed one run thus far, game tied 1-1.
And I think what an advantage is actually to, obviously when you get into major leagues, you have one pitcher that's usually pitching 6 or 7 innings. I think an actually advantage to collegiate and minor professional baseball is pitchers change every 3 to 4 innings. It's a rotation where you get to that point where batters have to face a new pitcher, they're filling out new throwers, and now you have to get to that point where you have to feel out the batters, and the batters have to feel out a new pitcher again. So again, if you have a deep bullpen like most of these teams do, it's an advantage. Shrink to their side.
That's Landon Lucas, number 36, warming up in the bullpen for Covington. We'll see how much longer Guerrero sticks in the game here. And the Sox back up to the top of their order. Israel batted last in the last inning, so now Abrams from Clemson up to bat. 0-1 the count, as this one is going to be chopped directly to Baird over at second. He's going to make the easy toss to Breen at first, and that will be a leadoff out on the board for the Sox.
Number 19, Satchel Norman.
Guerrero and Vincent having very similar games at this point. Very consistent. Both have 3 strikeouts. Both have only 1 hit. Or actually, my bad. Vincent has a 2nd hit, and so it's very similar games from them both.
Satchel Norman, the designated hitter, up to bat now for the Sox. That ball going to be called ball.
Tapped another low. If you're the Tom Sox, you have to get something going from the plate. It's another decent start, faster than it was last game, but again, a little bit slower for the liking.
Guerrero leaves that one up high. 2-0 the count now.
It's also like a star-studded pitcher like Guerrero is. In the first game, obviously he doesn't have the soreness of the season going because it's his first game. It's another thing they have to layer on to the difficulty.
So the count is 1-1, now 2-1. That first pitch was a foul tip off the bat of Norman as Norman gets back, gets set. 2-1 the count, 1 out. Tie game here as Guerrero delivers, and Norman having to get it out of the way of that pitch. That one came way inside. He jumps out of the way of that. So 3-1 the count. The Sox looking to get on base here in the bottom of the 3rd inning.
Guerrero looks like he's been attacking the top of the strike zone recently. Maybe trying to get away from the lower one there where, both pitchers again have sort of the same tendency with the lower strike zone.
Norman is going to hit this one directly into the glove of the shortstop. Lowengarten making that catch very easily, and that's now 2 outs on the board for the Sox. As Tristan Becerra, fresh off his first collegiate home run, a moonshot in that game over in Harrisonburg, coming up to bat. Hopefully we can see something similar here because, man, the Sox need it.
Yeah, if he's getting something started now, right now would be a great time for it.
Guerrero's going to leave that one low and inside. 1-0 the count with 2 outs, 1-1 the score.
And the other thing was that ball was such close to being out of the reach of Lavengard. That almost started the momentum itself.
That pitch going to be away on the other side of things, so 2-0 the count. Pacetta getting set. The Clemson Tiger awaits the pitch, and he's going to foul this one over the fence. Someone's dashboard might be in trouble over there. I don't know if I heard any glass shattering, but right towards the parking lot.
I didn't. Hopefully it was a little bit out or nobody parked over there, but, you know, parking lots of baseball games, you have to park far away from the field.
You got to be ready as this one is chopped directly to Baird, who makes the throw over to first to Breen. So Pacetta, that's 1, 2, 3 for the Sox going down there. That will end the third inning, and we will be back with the fourth inning here at Charlottesville High School. The score is still 1-1, but if you're at home, beautiful day to come out for some baseball. Still plenty of baseball left to be played and free admission, courtesy of Carter Bank and Trust.
Hi guys, I'm here with former Tom Sox intern Doria. She's going to answer some questions. When did the Tom Sox organization begin? A, 2015, B, 2012, C, 2016, or D, 1972? Correct. Next question. Where did Tom Sox head coach Graham Moen Garza play college baseball during his undergrad? A, Monsters University, B, Cornell, C, Syracuse, or D, Yale? Correct. All right, last question. Who led the Tom Sox in hits last year? A, Cole Foster, B, Garrett Spike, C, Wyatt Langford, or D, Will Haas? Correct. Woo!
Crawford Humphreys and Joe Callahan Jr. back live in the Crutchfield press box. The score is 1-1 after 3 innings played here at Charlottesville High School on a beautiful summer evening here in Seaville. And Joe, the Sox looking a little stagnant offensively as Vincent comes out to hopefully preserve this tie heading into the top of the fourth. What would you like to see from them offensively going forward?
Again, it's just contact with the ball and the bat, and it wasn't seen in the beginning of Harrisburg's 4-3 loss, and it would just be heartbreaking to lose another game like that late in innings, obviously, because it's tied now going into the fourth. You have that stint where you didn't get a hit or anyone got a run until the fourth inning. And now you have to start something. You have to make the momentum shift to your end.
Covington's designated hitter, Victor Rodriguez, up to bat against Vincent.
And it starts with Vincent staying consistent from the mound. The last thing that they can afford on offense is a defensive lapse.
Vincent with 2 low pitches to start this count off at 2-0. Vincent 1 walk, 3 strikeouts after 12 batters faced so far and 3 innings played. That delivery, and that ball is going to be grounded. It's going to be corralled by Edwards. He did a great job hanging on to that, and he's able to make the throw over to McLaughlin at first for the out. Looked like he juggled that ball around for a little bit.
Edwards had a little pump there.
Yeah.
Remember if he was trying to get the grip back on the ball, or, you know, it was a pretty hard play to the side of him, but great job trying to make sure that he has grip on the ball before throwing it, because, again, the last thing they can have is a defensive lapse and a streak of errors.
Nate Stockham, the left fielder, going to take his first pitch from Vincent for a strike. 0-1 the count. As Vincent delivers, that ball going to be low in the dirt. Another low pitch from Vincent. We've seen him. It's been his tendency today is going low, both sides of the plate and just straight down the middle. 1-1 the count with 1 out after a heck of a snag there from Edwards after that bobble. Vincent with a delivery. That ball is going to be fouled straight back behind home plate by Stockham.
And what I like about Vincent right now is right after the pitch in the dirt, trying to attack low again, he's going back up more into the strike zone instead of trying to shy away from the middle.
Vincent with a delivery to Stockham and a big strikeout
pitch.
there.
Great pitch in that stint.
Now batting,
Vincent
the shortstop,
getting his
number 7,
swagger back a little bit on the mound. That's 2 outs already.
Mid and outside, just a great placement of the ball after attacking the interior, low, middle, or low interior of the strike zone. Obviously trying to get, that to sneak in there, but some of them get in the dirt. Great pitch there. And another one.
Asaph Lowengaard, the next batter up for Covington. Covington looking for some 2-out production here. He'll take the first pitch he sees from Vincent for a strike, 0-1. Next pitch high to even the count at 1-1. Vincent with a noticeably more confidence on the mound after that strikeout.
Maybe he was attacking the lower because he was afraid to get in the strike zone. Now he's opening back up.
That's going to be a foul ball. That one fouled into the back fence behind home plate. 1-2 now the count for Lowengaard.
A lot of times when pitchers are scared to throw it down the middle, batters and teams start to see that and they don't swing a lot.
Lowengaard's going to hit that one foul into virtually the same place, right behind home plate.
See, now you're getting where he's attacking. He's trying to find out where they're going to reach. That was a little bit inside. Still in the middle of the strike zone, but a great placement by Vincent, still opening up where he can throw it and where they're going to reach. A great poise this inning.
The count against Lowengaard is 1-2. Vincent 1 pitch away from getting the Sox out of the top of the 4th, with the score still knotted up at 1-1 as he delivers. And he throws that one outside and gets Lowengaard to swing away at it. A big strikeout. That's back-to-back strikeouts to end the inning for Vincent.
Great placement again. The switch of momentum on the defensive side of the ball for the Tom Sox is apparent now. Vincent opened up the strike zone in that one inning. Again, 1 through 3, he was attacking low. Didn't really want to get it into the strike zone. A lot of, looks or foul balls, or the hits that he gave up were right down the middle. And now he's starting to open it up and trying to get that momentum to sit back to the Tom Sox. A great inning. Now what we need to see is the momentum carry into the bats on the plate.
Stockham and Lowengaard. Easy work for Vincent as he racks up 2 more strikeouts in the top of the 4th inning. So the score is still knotted at 1-1, and it appears we have a new pitcher in the game. It's Landon Lucas, the right-hander.
That's going to be another thing that's going to hinder the Tom Sox momentum. If Lucas is going to come into this game and try to fill out again and have another cycle like Guerrero had, because again, Guerrero is consistent, Vincent has been consistent, maybe Logan is consistent as well. And I think right now they saw, he was in the bullpen in the previous inning, but especially seeing after the inning that Vincent had, now you need to stymie their momentum, and one of the ways that they've seen to do that, which is a really great chess play, is switching the pitcher.
So Landon Lucas in the game now, the right-hander, comes to Covington as a junior at College of Charleston. He's originally from Leesville, South Carolina. First batter he will face today is Tanner Kim, the Kentucky Wildcat, the number 5 hitter on this Tom Sox lineup. As Kim gets set, Lucas with the delivery, and that one is going to be up high for ball 1 to start his time on the mound here today in Charlottesville. Quickly gets set again. Second pitch on the way. That one also high up for ball 2.
Both pitches high and up, and both pitches flaming out from the mound.
Lucas throwing some heat. That ball is finally going to find the strike zone. 2-1 to count now as the Sox look to break this 1-1 tie here.
Again, another chess match.
Lucas finding the strike zone yet again. Evens the count at 2-2.
Every pitch so far has been heat, and that's another thing when you put in a new pitcher trying to stymie momentum, especially after a great pitching outing from the opponent. Now you send in a pitcher that's going to send straight heat, try to stymie that momentum.
Lucas the delivery, that's going to be fouled into the back fence by Kim. With Lucas on the mound now, it looks like the Sox are got a pitcher warming up in their bullpen. So we'll see how much longer Tom Vincent lasts on the mound for Charlottesville. For now, Lucas with the 2-2. That one is going to be skied foul over the Tom Sox dugout and back into the woods.
See, what's happening now is Tanner Kim is starting to realize the timing that he needs on these fast pitches. And if I'm Lucas, I'm trying to put something a little bit slower, maybe a curve, knuckleball, something like that.
The 2-2 delivery is going to be high, so a full count for Lucas and the first batter he faces. Kim watching that one sail by. So 3-2 the count now. No outs on the board, tied 1-1. The payoff pitch is going to be over the head of Ketzner. That's going to hit.
See, again, a slower pitch on that full count pitch. And realistically, you just wanted it over the strike zone, but that was a good decision by Lucas. Just couldn't get that in the zone.
Yeah, that ball hit that back fence with a noticeable thump. Lucas has been throwing some heat.
If I said it once, I say it again. Thank God for fences.
Hunter Sudi, we mentioned earlier, he took Julian Rojas' spot behind the mound. The catcher from Alabama, he's now up to bat. And he will take the first pitch he sees from Lucas for a strike.
Fresh pitcher, fresh batter. Another matchup that could go in either team's favor.
Quick 0-2 hole for Sudi, who redshirted as a freshman down in Tuscaloosa. He's the number 2 Alabama catcher in the 2021 class. Looking to make an impact here in Charlottesville this summer, as that's another ball heading straight towards the parking lot.
I did not hear plastic or glass. That's a good sign for the patrons here.
All good thus far. All good thus far. 0-2. Still the count with Kim standing over on first after that walk in his last at bat. He's going to take off towards second. Did Ketzner make the throw in time? He did not.
That's a great steal.
And Kim, using his speed, dusting off his pants.
Tanner Kim noticed that they had lacked of coverage on the second base. Obviously, you crash in there and you get there when the throw comes in, but that's a great play by Kim, noticing that they're not covering second base for him to steal.
Using his speed there, he's now going to take his lead over at second. So the Sox with a runner in scoring position with no outs on the board. Can his fellow SEC Tom Sock get him home? So that ball is going to be outside for ball one of this at-bat. 1-2 the count.
Trying to hit that outer strike zone. Maybe that's a trend for Lucas.
The 1-2 delivery from Lucas is going to be fouled. Almost took out the Tom Sox third base coach, who scrambled out of the way at the last second. That'll keep this count at 1-2. As Kim moves back to second base.
Both teams must hate their third base coaches. That's a third foul ball that almost hit a coach.
Been some dicey situations thus far. Showing off the reflexes.
Give him a shield out there.
And Sudi struck out. His first at-bat for the Sox.
A lower pitch that just snuck in there.
Ends in a strikeout. That'll put the first out of this half inning on the board for Covington.
And now again, as I mentioned back in the second when you had the third rather, when you had base runners at second and third, now is a great time to take momentum and put the ball in the field to play.
McLaughlin, the first baseman, up to bat. He will take the first ball he sees from Lucas for a strike. 0-1 the count. Kim still on second, the runner in scoring position for the Sox. And the Sox certainly don't want to strand him out there. As McLaughlin watches another pitch sail past him for strike two. Quick 0-2 hole for him. Tyler Shelnut on deck for the Sox.
Lucas dishing another flaming pitch, another one as well.
That one was some heat, but it was upstairs. So 1-2, now the count for McLaughlin.
He knows that since he's a new pitcher, the batters don't have the timing yet. So he can give those, 3 pitches, 4 pitches succinct where he can just throw straight. He doesn't need to get too special, setting up stuff.
Lucas moving in rhythm. That ball going to be called strike. That's back-to-back strikeouts here for Lucas. He's finding his groove on the mound, and it's not a great sign for the Tom Sox. That's 2 straight batters retired, 2 outs on the board, and the Sox now in danger of stranding Kim over on second base.
See, what's unfortunate about that is, again, as I just mentioned, now you could get to the intermediate pitches. That wasn't a slower one, but when you get to those slower pitches that aren't heat, the batters aren't ready for it because they're not ready for your fastball either yet.
Tyler Shelnutt's going to ground that one straight into the glove of Lowengardt. He was able to make the throw to Breen at first and strike out Shelnutt, the Florida Gator. So that will end things for the Tom Sox. Landon Lucas throwing some heat on the mound and keeping the Tom Sox at bay. 1-1, still your score after 4 complete here at Charlottesville High School.
The Tom Sox would like to thank the great folks of Torch Clean Energy for their support this season. From cutting-edge solar and battery technology to innovative financing and partnership models, their projects incorporate the best solutions that the industry has to offer, and they're always adapting. Visit torchcleanenergy.com for more information. Pitcher in the game for your Tom Sox from the University of Chicago Maroons, number 10, Drew Bryan.
To the town of Alfredo, the stranger one fine day. Hardly spoke to folks about him, didn't have too much to say. No one dared to ask his business, no one dared to make a slip. The stranger there among them had a big iron on his hip, big iron on his hip. It was early in the morning when he rode into the town. He came riding from the south side, slowly looking all around. He's an outlaw, loose and running, came the whisper from each lip. And he's here to do some business with the big iron on his hip, big iron on his hip.
Leading off for Covington, the first baseman, number 37, Justin Breen.
Crawford Humphreys, Joe Callahan Jr. back live in the Crutchfield press box at Charlottesville High School. Score still knotted at 1-1 between the Tom Sox and the Lumberjacks. We have a new pitcher in the game for Charlottesville, Drew Bryan, coming to Charlottesville from UChicago, native of Sanford, North Carolina. First batter he will face is Justin Breen, the number 7 hitter in this Lumberjack lineup. And he will foul that pitch over the fence behind home plate and knot this count at 1-1.
And the great thing about Bryan is he has more strikeouts than innings pitched. He's pitched 47 innings and has 52 strikeouts. Great to see on the stat sheet for a pitcher.
Good season for him up at UChicago. That pitch to Breen is going to be low and inside, so 2-1 the count. Lumberjacks looking to break this tie here in the top of the 5th inning. As Bryan gets set and delivers, that one is going to be hit straight into the glove of Kyle Edwards, who was able to get it over to McLaughlin in time for the out. So Bryan gets his first out as a Tom Sock under his belt.
See, I think of the other thing when we talk about the chess piece now, the Tom Sox do the same thing that the Lumberjacks did and send a new pitcher that now the batters need to get used to. And we talked about the pitchers watching film and attacking, with Vincent attacking the lower strike zone. Drew Bryan was his high school valedictorian, so maybe he's doing the same thing, calculating strategies.
Cooper George, the third baseman, up to bat now for Covington from Mount Olive. Takes the first pitch for a ball, 1-0 the count, the 1-0 delivery. from Brian is going to be called strike.
And another new pitcher comes into the game and just starts throwing straight heat, trying to match what Lucas did, because both of them are flaming from the mound.
Brian delivers. This one's going to be chopped down the third base line. Shellnut able to corral it, and he gets the throw over to McLaughlin in time for out number 2 at the top of the 5th. Shellnut getting his fair share of work over there at third base. Had a couple of big throws thus far today.
Third base and shortstop, the ones that get the most work. Obviously first base, that gets every thrown to them, but as far as moving, that's normally where the balls do land in the infield.
So 2 outs now for Cole Ketzner, the catcher for this Lumberjack team. The first pitch from Brian is low for ball 1.
Again, another heater. I think the one thing that you have to get to, both Lucas and him, is mixing in those slow pitches as well, as he does right there.
1-1 the count after that strike from Brian to even the count against Ketzner.
Intermediate throw, but still slower than the rest.
Brian with the 1-1, a broken bat as that ball goes straight into the glove of Edwards, and Edwards able to make the throw in time to McLaughlin. He dove over Shellnut.
Jumping right over him, looking like a reverse Derek Jeter.
Shellnut
that was a great play.
Dove for that one as the broken bat went flying.
And another, when we talk about Drew Bryan throwing heaters, a little bit slower, gets the batter, and another heater breaks a bat. Then just a beautiful play from Edwards right onto his highlight tape.
That's 3 up, 3 down for the Lumberjacks, and we are now back to the offensive end of things for the Sox. Landon Lucas back out for his second inning of production for the Lumberjacks. He was able to keep the Tom Sox at bay in the bottom of the 4th. We'll see if he can repeat that here in the bottom of the 5th.
Just shout out to Shellnut for, assisting Edwards in getting that great picture of him jumping right over him. Normally in a lot of other sports, if you jump over somebody, it's a little bit embarrassing for the lower end, but right there, I don't think he's complaining at all.
With the bat flying right at him, too.
Yeah.
A huge piece of that bat going right in their direction.
Man, both pitchers, again, Lucas and just Brian just throwing. Maybe, I really want to get the gun out here. It looks like all of them are 100. Showing straight fastballs, then throwing in the occasional slow ball. Now is the innings, though, where you have to get into the stint, because Brian wasn't really out there for a long time. Lucas was out there for a little bit. So now the Tom Sox have more of, the preparation that the Lumberjacks have with Brian, and now what Lucas has to do now is he has to mix in the slow ones. He has to mix in the fast. He can't just go straight fastballs like he did the last inning. He has to mix them now.
Kyle Edwards will lead things off for the Sox in the bottom of the 5th. Coming in from ODU. He has yet to face Lucas thus far, so we'll see how he can respond to the heat. First, this is that bat on the way, and that is a big swing, a big cut from Edwards.
Power pitch, power swing.
But he comes up empty. 0-1 now the count. Delivery from Lucas, another big cut that comes up empty. 0-2 the count.
Again, they're getting so close to getting to the timing of Lucas, and especially where the advantage goes now this late in the game, right in the middle, is they have more experience with Lucas on the mound rather than the Lumberjacks with Bryant.
Edwards, the 9-hole hitter, so the Sox will go back to the top of their lineup in the bottom of the 5th. As Edwards watches that pitch sail by for ball 1. So the count is 1-2 now as Edwards settles back in. Lucas winds up and delivers. And that pitch is going to be hit directly to Lowengardt. And he scrambled to get that ball, and he threw it past the glove of Justin Breen. That ball skipped off his glove, so a bobble and then an errant throw.
Costly mistake.
We'll put Kyle Edwards over at first.
Costly mistake by Lowengardt. What you have to do is you cannot get to that point where you're giving up those errors. It's another thing that when you get to this league, errors start momentum, and it happens all the time. And especially in a game that's 1-1 in the 5th inning, you just sent in a new pitcher. Now the Tom Sox could capitalize so greatly on if they get the bats rolling on this momentum now.
So that's Israel, who's going to be leading things, or sorry, he's going to be the number 2 hitter, but the lead hitter in this Tom Sox lineup today. As Edwards is going to try and steal third from second. That's another errant throw.
He's going to get home.
Edwards is going to get home on a wild throw from Ketzner.
What a sequence by the Lumberjacks, shooting themselves in the foot. I just mentioned it. The last thing that you need in a late game are these costly errors, and now momentum has completely shifted towards the Tom Sox side.
Lowengarth, the shortstop, and Ketzner, the catcher, just allowed a Tom Sox runner to get all the way around the bases in 2 pitches.
Now again, all the pressure now is on the Lumberjacks, and especially on Vincent. Now he's going to have to try to stymie the momentum that unfortunately his teammates has caused for him.
Israel having to duck out of the way of that pitch. That one could have dinged him on the head if he didn't duck down.
Right, the head. He might be feeling the momentum now. And again, when you get thrown into a game after 1 inning, getting this momentum shift, especially on something that you couldn't control, that's frustrating.
So the score is now 2-1 as Israel grounds this one into the glove of Baird, and he makes the throw in time.
Good play now, but again, the Tom Sox are getting closer and closer and closer to getting down the timing of Lucas. And right at this stint, again, I bring it back to the errors. It's such a momentum killer or a momentum shifter to the opposite side when you have those errors while the batters are getting down the timing of your new pitcher.
Abrams, the number 2 hitter on this Tom Sox lineup, now up to bat. With the Sox in the lead, 2-1. Courtesy of Kyle Edwards getting all the way around the bases after a couple of Lumberjack errors. The Lumberjacks able to get that last out without any sort of errors or bobbling the ball or missed throws. But the damage had been done. Another foul ball going back again towards the parking lot.
And this one was the first one that you could actually see from the press box as all the kids were scrambling over it before it hit a car.
Yeah, luckily didn't hear any car alarms going off, as a big cut there from Abrams is going to be called strike. He wound up on that one. Came up empty. Edwards had a few of those as well.
Again, they're getting so close to getting the timing down of Lucas. It's going to pay off sooner or later.
Abrams gets set. Lucas, the delivery, going to be outside, called ball. Lucas in a tough situation here, facing the meat of this Tom Sox lineup.
That's another thing. That meat of the lineup right as they're getting the timing down.
A big strike 3 call for Lucas to try and get some momentum back on the Lumberjacks side as Abrams takes his helmet off and walks back towards the Tom Sox dugout.
I mean, these batters seem a little bit frustrated with the outer strike zone called strikes because they might be a little bit off of the plate, but again, we mentioned it in the first, kind of teetered away from it in the second and the third and the fourth, and now coming back to it. Umpire loves those outside strikes.
So a ground out and a strikeout have put 2 outs on the board for Covington as that ball sails over the head of Satchel Norman, the designated hitter, and back into that fence behind home plate. So that will open this count at 1-0.
And it's unfortunate because it seems to me like Lucas is starting to feel the pressure of the situation right now.
2-1 the score. Lucas delivers. Another big swing and a miss.
And then shuts me up with a heater right down the middle right there.
This time it's Norman with a big cut that comes up empty. So 1-1 now the count here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Lucas, the delivery, some more heat back inside the strike zone. Now the count's at 1-2, and Lucas looking to get the Lumberjacks out of this inning after a few costly errors.
Yep. And just as I say something, he's mixing in the slower pitches right there.
We'll see what he does here. That one straight into the dirt.
That might have been the fastest ball he's thrown today.
And credit to Ketzner for getting behind that one and scooping that one up. That was
almost had to say thank God for fences again.
Yeah, heater. That was a heater straight into the dirt. Ketzner judged the bounce correctly and was able to corral that.
That was so fast it might have scared me from going through the fence.
2-2, 2 outs. A little bit of a check swing. Did he go? He did not.
Good call. I don't think he went all the way around.
So that's going to be called ball. So now a full count for Lucas just when he thought he could get out of this inning easily. He's got a big payoff pitch coming up as the Tom Sox look to keep their momentum going. 2-1 the score, courtesy of that Lumberjack error. That's going to be another ball low in the dirt, and Norman will trot over to first base.
Again, if I was Lucas in that situation, I'm throwing an off-speed pitch. It was a little off-speed, too much speed for my liking right in that stint because of right now they're starting to get the timing down. Again, I keep mentioning it because it's worth noting that when you throw in these off-speed pitches, especially a curveball, something that slider, something that goes and moves throughout the air, you get to that stint where they're starting to get the timing down. Now they're a little bit ahead of your pitches, and it's a momentum swinger where you don't have the momentum right now.
This is Tristan Becerra, the right fielder for the Sox, up to bat. He will take the first pitch from Lucas of this at-bat for a ball. 1-0 the count with 2 outs. The lights have come on here at Sevo Weekly Ballpark. The sun starting to set.
Getting ready for night ball. That's another one into the parking lot, into the little park over there, and the kids are running right for it again.
Getting some dangerous hits over there towards the parking lot, but there's nothing better than some
what I like though is now,
baseball.
What I like now is or from the Tom Sox side, is the foul balls are starting to get closer and closer to the field of play, and deep ones too.
1-1 for Becerra, who takes a big cut. Nothing going for him, though. 1-2 the count now with 2 outs. Norman over at first after the walk. Becerra gets back in the batter's box, gets set. 1-2, Lucas with a chance to get the Lumberjacks out of this inning. Instead, he's going to throw it outside, and we'll even this count at 2-2.
Trying to get him into reach, I believe. Again, another stint where you do not know the timing yet or just about getting it. Pitches that are outside of the strike zone might get you to reach because it's coming in so fast you don't have that reaction time as much.
This ball by Becerra is going to be popped straight up. We'll see who's going after it. And it appears to be Cooper George coming over from third base. He makes the catch there, and that will end things for the Tom Sox. Not before they can break the tie, though. It is 2-1 now after 5 complete innings. We'll be back with the 6th and see if the Lumberjacks can respond after this break.
All right, Tom Sox fans, it's time to get loud. Let's send it down to Abby and Margaret.
All right, guys, we're going to lead down to cheer. Are you ready? This side, I need you guys to say Tom when I point at you. And y'all are going to be Sox. Ready? Ready. Tom! Sox! Tom! Sox! Tom! Sox! Tom! Sox! Tom! Sox!
Falling on my face again, so I know I'm right on track. It's hard for me to make amends when you stab me in the back. Sailing on to another sorry shore. Talking, say I'm a filthy little. Like I just haven't been in the right place, right time. Just settle down.
Now batting number 10, John Urena.
Crawford Humphreys, Joe Callahan Jr. back live on what is turning out to be a beautiful evening of baseball here in Charlottesville. Drew Bryan back on the mound for the Tom Sox as they look to preserve a 2-1 lead here in the top of the 6th inning. And Bryan will have his work cut out for him as he faces the top of this Lumberjacks order. That's John Urena up to bat right now. And he finds himself in a 2-0 advantage.
More and more heaters from Bryan when a team doesn't have that experience with him on the mound yet because of a quick last inning.
Brian delivers. That's another pitch inside, so the count will quickly go 3-0 in favor of Urena. Looks like there's some more action in the Lumberjacks bullpen. Still nothing going, though, for the Sox. We'll see how much longer Brian will last here on the mound as he throws one straight down the pipe for strike one.
If he keeps fooling them with those pitches, I don't think you'll need another one in the bullpen.
3-1 the count now against the leadoff hitter, Urena. Big cut and a big swing and a miss by Urena. So that one sails past him. So now a full count, big payoff pitch on the way for Brian. Looking to keep the Tom Sox momentum alive. Brian with the payoff, that one going to be outside. And Urena will go over to first base.
Now again, I think this is the time where Brian needs to start getting in those all-speed pitches to try to stymie a comeback in momentum that the Lumberjacks may, start to grab up, because right now, when you're walking the first batter of the second inning that you face, especially after a quick one, you could get to a stint where you can't find the strike zone again, and then when you do, you're sending meatballs over the middle of the strike zone and someone's sending one.
Byard, the number 2 hitter, pops this one up. That's going to go back over the Lumberjacks dugout into the fan area.
Almost hit the Charlottesville High School Gator.
So 0-1 the count after that foul ball with Urena at first.
Never want our field equipment to be the first car that gets hit today. Never want a car, but especially one that you're linked to.
Yeah. Brian's going to check Urena over at first base as Byard gets set in the batter's box. 0-1 count. Sox still holding a 2-1 advantage after the Lumberjacks' error in the last inning. That ball is going to be low, and that will even this count at 1-1 as Urena trots back to first.
It seems like this umpire likes the outside strike zone, calling them strikes, but if they're towards the middle or higher, he has not called a lot of outside low balls. And we
Great
see it
pitch
right
there that finds the strike zone from Brian to move the count to 1-2.
Again, a little bit in the middle and a little bit outside is where they're calling these. If you're going to throw somewhat of a ball, that's where you want it.
Urena's going to take off from first. That ball is going to be foul. Once again, going over the Lumberjacks dugout. That one's going to bounce off the pavement. So 1-2 still the count here. Urena was, home free towards second there using his speed. Tom Sox were not ready for that.
It was an unfortunate foul ball. Byard can't really do anything about it, but Urena was humming. And especially if he got that in the field of play for extra bases, that might have brought Urena all the way home.
Byard gets set, and a big strikeout for Brian.
Great pitch.
That pitch inside, just touching the edge of the strike zone. That will put one out on the board for the Lumberjacks. Urena still at first, and now Joshua Rodriguez up to bat.
Great placement with a heater. He saw that Byard was a little bit hovering over the plate, put it right inside near his knee, but still in the strike zone with a heater. Great placement.
Rodriguez opened his at-bat up with a big swing and a miss. 0-1 the count. Brian getting in his groove here on the mound, working with some rhythm. One out on the board, one strike on the board as well. Urena taking a lead over at first. Rodriguez awaiting the 0-1. Here's the delivery, and that ball is going to be high to even the count at 1-1.
Still with the heaters, both teams, Lucas and Brian, still humming out from the mound.
Brian, the delivery. This one is going to be skied over into right field. Getting under it is Becerra, and he is able to do that, just that, get his glove underneath that ball and put a second out on the board for the Sox.
See, I think what we're starting to see now is much like last inning for the Tom Sox and Lucas, the Lumberjacks are starting to get the timing down of Brian. He needs to get those off-speed pitches down into the plate because now they're used to him throwing heaters. And again, with that fly out, they're making contact now.
Victor Rodriguez, the designated hitter, up to bat with 2 outs on the board and a runner on first. Urena's going to take off, and it won't matter because Rodriguez gets hit in the side of the arm, it looked like, back elbow area by the pitch from Brian, so he will take his spot at first. The Lumberjacks now move a man into scoring position in Urena at second.
Two things. That if you're Brian, that's the last thing that you wanted, especially after they make contact the first time in the field of play with your pitches, but again, or deep into the outfield with your pitches. But again, with the amount of heat that he's putting on these balls, that's the last thing Rodriguez wants. Straight to the elbow.
Nate Stockham now comes to the mound with a chance to tie this game up once more. Runners on second and first for the Lumberjacks. The pitch is on the way, and that's going to be outside for ball one.
And sitting with these fastballs.
Stockham's going to sky this one, and that one is going to go foul over the home plate fence, and that's going to go over the Crutchfield press box back into the woods behind us. So 1-1 to count with 2 outs. Runners on first and second. The Lumberjacks looking for some 2-out production here to tie this game up at the top of the 6th inning.
Constant contact with the ball. What the Lumberjacks want to see, another one.
That ball is going to be chopped towards the Tom Sox dugout. Head coach Ramon Garza scampering out of the way.
The Lumberjacks are starting to consistently make contact with the ball, something that they really needed this stint. Right now down by 1 with a runner in scoring position.
Brian with a runner in scoring position, looking to get the Sox out of the top of the 6th inning with a strike here. Stockham looking to keep this inning alive. That ball is going to be thrown low. And was Sudi able to make the throw in time? He was.
Great throw by Sudi. Put it right on the money. He just saw last inning where Tetzner wasn't able to put it on the third base line, and he was able to.
Tyler
Shellnut able to make the tag there to get Urena out. Again, Urena showcasing his speed. He almost had that tag earlier, that stolen base earlier on the foul ball. He was well on his way to third there. And Sudi, who came in to replace Rojas earlier in this game, went down with an injury. Huge play there from the kid from the Crimson Tide. Unreal. So many highlight plays we've seen thus far. Plenty of defensive highlights already. The score is only 2-1, but highlights abound for the Sox on the defensive end as we head to the bottom of the 6th inning. The Sox looking to ride that momentum that they generated back in the bottom of the 5th. We'll see if they can keep things going offensively. Looks like we have a new pitcher. This is the 3rd pitcher in the game today for Covington. This is Garrett Bonnet. He's the senior from LSU Shreveport, native of Rockport, West Virginia.
And again, they saw that they're starting to get to Lucas, and another chess piece match by the Lumberjacks. Great coaching at this stint right now. Rennie Torrentino knows what he's doing from the coaching spot, because right now, again, I keep mentioning it because it's been the story of this game. Once they start getting the timing of their pitchers, another one comes in, and it's a great advantage for a team that has a deep bullpen like a lot of these Valley League teams do.
From the pilots of Louisiana State University, Shreveport.
And it's also a stint right now where you get to the defensive highlights coming back from who's going to have the momentum. And it's still a 2-1 game as the Tom Sox are back up to bat, having to get another stint right now because the momentum is on the Tom Sox side. But after a great defensive play, you now put in a new pitcher and you have to throw another wrinkle into it. A great move from the Lumberjacks coaching staff.
Garrett Bonnet, the 3rd pitcher in today's game. And he replaces Landon Lucas, who had 3 strikeouts and 9 batters faced. Our guy David Argo was able to find someone with a radar gun. He was topping out at around 95 miles per hour on his pitches. Really throwing some heat to this Tom Sox batting order.
And that was before the one that hit, that almost hit the fence. And that, again, I thought that was as fast as that might have been 100. Ball's a little bit low there.
The second pitch from Bonnet during his stint on the mound today is a ball, so 1-1 the count as he faces Tanner Kim, the 5-hitter.
And the motive of the Tom Sox right now needs to get something in the bat of play to stymie this momentum this great decision by the Lumberjacks.
Kim is going to let that pitch from Bonnet fly past him. Count is 1-2.
Kim being up the bat, if he can get on base, he had that great steal earlier in his last outing when he got on base. That's a key piece that they need. Good check swing by Kim.
Now batting, the catcher, number 14, Hunter Sudi.
So yeah, that check swing, they're going to call him out.
Wow,
At the couple of those today.
Yeah, at the beginning it seemed like they were calling it no, and then they called him out. I thought that they called it that he didn't go. It was close call. I can see why they said he went, though.
So Bonnet able to get the first batter he sees out. That's put the first out on the board of the bottom of the 6th inning. And now it is Hunter Sudi, the catcher, up to bat for the Sox, who replaced Rojas earlier in today's game. Rojas had a good stint behind the plate despite the injury, some offensive production as well. Sudi now taking his spot, and he will fall into a quick 1-2 hole, or 1-1 hole.
Sudi has taken that role from Rojas so greatly, and again, highlight plays. Hopefully he can put it into the outfield.
That ball is going to get past Ketzner behind the plate. So that'll make the count 2-1 with 1 out. Tyler McLaughlin, the first baseman, on deck for the Sox.
Another thing about Sudi is a very consistent hitter. Very great offensive player. The Tom Sox need it if they want to get momentum.
Sudi jumping out of the way of that pitch as it comes inside. That'll make the count 3-1 in his favor. And Bonnet now facing some adversity on the mound. In danger of putting a Tom Sox on first base.
Tom Sox really need momentum, especially this late in the game. Neither team really had momentum from offense.
Bonnet delivers. Big cut from Sudi that comes up empty. So that'll make the count 3-2, full count. Tom Sox now with some action in their bullpen. So we'll see how much longer Drew Bryan stays in this game, the U Chicago product. Sudi is going to foul that one. That one hit one of the poles in the fence directly behind home plate and shot straight towards the Tom Sox dugout. The Tom Sox dugout has had some shots taken at him.
I don't even need to say it again. You guys probably heard it. Thank God for the invention of fences, especially for baseball.
Payoff pitch on the way from Bonnet, and he is going to get Sudi swinging for the second out of this inning.
Bonnet coming with the heat again, as we've seen a pattern in baseball, and especially in this game. New pitcher comes in, straight heat, until they learn that they might, or until he sees that they've learned how to make contact with it.
Tyler McLaughlin, the first baseman, up to bat now with 2 outs on the board. Bonnet making quick work of the Sox thus far, as they still cling on to that 2-1 lead. Bonnet delivers. That one going to be low and in the dirt for ball 1.
I think what would scare me about both teams now is neither team really have gotten anything going from the plate. It's been great pitching by every pitcher for each team to come into the game. Fastballs, off speeds, and every score right now is pretty much off of field errors.
You said it best. This really has been a defensive chess match for both teams, as that ball goes high to make the count 2-0 for McLaughlin. But the Sox still clinging to that lead, and it came off of an error too. Like you said, it's been very, very tight thus far. Nothing really going offensively for either team. McLaughlin looking to prove us wrong there. That ball low and in the dirt.
It's also said that they've taken the opportunities that the other team give them more than the Lumberjacks have, because we've seen batters thrown out while trying to steal, as the great play by Sudi before saw and 2 runs are on the board now because of defensive errors by the Lumberjacks.
Bonnet's going to let that pitch go in, or sorry,
Now batting,
McLaughlin's going to let that
the
pitch from
third
Bonnet go in the
baseman,
dirt.
number 30,
Bonnet's going to watch
Tyler
him take his
Shelnut.
base at first. So 2 outs on the board. Tyler Shelnut up to bat. Tom Sox looking for some 2-out action. But games like this are so important for Summer League because this is a huge chance for coaches to find out who their go-to arms are going into the rest of this season. Even though the offense isn't going for both ends, this is a game where you can figure out who your go-to guys are going to be as this season progresses and the coaches continue to figure out their pitching rotations.
And for how sloppy that the fielding has been for the Lumberjacks, a great thing for the Tom Sox is to have somebody on first. Now, it is kind of unfortunate that right now you sit with 2 outs in this, situation, but it's so great to have somebody on base in these situations as they go to talk to Bonnet on the mound and have a little bit of a conference to try to see what they can do to stymie this momentum that might be, arising for the Tom Sox.
Tyler Shelnut hanging around at home plate while the conference happens on the pitcher's mound. A little slow down in the game.
Taking swings to a Chris Brown song.
Tom Sox with a runner on first, 2 outs on the board. And listen, 2 outs, I mean, there is still time for some production.
Just a little conversation between Bonnet and head coach Torrentino.
Tom Sox, as we mentioned earlier, with some action in their bullpen. So we'll see if another pitcher comes out for the 7th inning. Shelnut opens things up after that conference with a big swing and a miss to make the count 1-1.
And I keep going back to the timing. It was a great pitch and the outside sting of the middle of the strike zone. A great swing. It's just that they do not have the timing down yet.
Shelnut awaits the 1-1. He's going to swing at that one again and come up empty. That's 2 strikes now. 1 ball, 2 outs. And the Sox in danger of stranding a man at first base.
I think it was, again, unfortunate that they have this situation with a man on first with 2 outs. If they could have done it with 1 out, 0 outs, it would have been a much better situation, obviously. But
the 1-2 on the way, a check swing, and they're going to say he went. So Shelnut will end things for the Sox here in the bottom of the 6th inning. The Sox,
like that one.
again, coming up empty. 2-1 is still the score as the 7th inning of play lies on deck. We'll be back after this quick break.
The Tom Sox would like to thank Stephen J. Engel of Origin Wealth and Ameriprise Financial Services, LLC. Whether it's saving for college, living the retirement lifestyle you choose, making smart investments, Stephen is your man. The personalized financial advice that he offers can help you prepare for the expected and unexpected things in life. As a result, you can feel more confident, connected, and in control of your finances. Also, Tom Sox fans, it is time that we announce the winner of the 50-50 raffle tonight. Everyone get those tickets out. The winner is 526210. That's 526210. Come on up to receive your cash prize in the press box. New pitcher in the game for your Tom Sox from the Kentucky Wildcats, number 7, Christian Howe.
Crawford Humphreys, Joe Callahan Jr. back live in the Crutchfield press box as we await the 7th inning of play between the Tom Sox and the Lumberjacks. And to get things going, the Sox are going to put a new pitcher on the mound. It's Christian Howe from the University of Kentucky. He's in his sophomore year there and redshirted as a freshman, but still plenty of high school accolades. He was the Max Preps 2021 Small School National Player of the Year and a first-team All-American. He's the number 7 Kentucky player in their 2021 class. Howe coming on the mound here to prove his stuff.
Man, I talked about the intelligence of Remy Tolentino. How about Ramon Garza doing the same exact thing? It just seems like if one team makes a move, the other one does the same thing. Very even teams up until this point. It's just that the Tom Sox have made the most of the opportunities that the Lumberjacks have given them in the defensive lapses.
And this is also a chance for first-year head coach Ramon Garza, like we mentioned earlier, to get a sense of what this pitching roster is looking like this year and who the reliable arms are going to be going forward. It's going to be Nate Stockham who leads things off for the Lumberjacks here in the 7th inning. First pitch from Howe is on the way. It's going to be low and in the dirt for ball 1.
And again, likely predicted, first pitch that comes in and a few pitches from the first stint of Howe are going to be heaters. Just hoping he can find the strike zone.
That pitch outside the strike zone as well, so 2-0 the count. Sox holding on to a 2-0 lead still. As Howe gets set on the mound, winds up, delivers. That ball just hanging outside as well, so now 3-0 against Howe. First batter he faces, he's going to have to fight back.
He needs to get settled in right now. He's throwing out heaters, yes, but he needs to be accurate with them in this point of the game.
Howe finally finds a strike zone to make the count 3-1. That one just going straight down the pipe. He's already working in rhythm. He's set on the mound. Stockham gets ready and lets that pitch go past him for strike 2.
Again, now he's getting poised. If you don't need to throw in the off speeds right now because they don't have the timing of your fastball yet, but he looked at 2, so he might be having an idea.
Payoff pitch on the way for Howe, and that one is going to be way inside and low. That's going to put Stockham on first base. Hunter Sudi, the catcher, struggled to find where that one was. He was looking around for a second before finally collecting it. Sox are lucky there were no runners on the base paths, but now there is. Runner on first, that's Nate Stockham. And Asaph Loengart now up to bat. Loengart, the shortstop for the Lumberjacks today.
Great play by Stockham not swinging at one pitch in that at-bat, knowing that it's a new pitcher that's going to throw heat.
Loengart's going to slightly move out of the way of that pitch. As the count goes 1-0, that ball way inside. Howe winds up, delivers. That ball finds the strike zone to even the count at 1-1.
So now outside, I think he tried to do it with the first pitch, but you can see that he's kind of leaning over the strike zone again.
That ball is going to be skied. It's going over the Sox dugout. McLaughlin giving it chase from first base, but it's going to ding off of the Tom Sox batting cage. So 1-2 now the count for Loengart.
See, Loengart's now starting to move backwards into the batter's box and not hovering over the plate so much as he was in the first 2 pitches.
Howe delivers that one low and outside. That'll even the count at 2-2. Stockham taking a lead over at first. We'll see if they call for a steal or if they'll just wait for Loengart to make contact. That time he doesn't. That is a swing and a miss, and that's Howe's first strikeout of not just today, but his Tom Sox career. He does it in front of the Charlottesville faithful here at Charlottesville High School. So 1 out on the board, a runner on first still for the Lumberjacks.
And also what that does is when you get into the stint where I think where you're trying to find where teams are reaching, that lower strike zone is where they seem to have reached as another pitch goes there.
Justin Breen, the first baseman, is going to foul the first pitch he sees from Howe to make the count 0-1. Another one that the younger fans in the crowd are giving chase to over in that grassy area.
There's a lot of foul balls going over there, but again, and Howe's trying to get that lower strike zone inside. Another one goes there.
That ball is going to be cracked, but it's going to go foul. It's going to fall just past the Lumberjacks bullpen, where it appears they have another pitcher warming up. And there's some action in the Tom Sox bullpen as well. So both bullpens going. 0-2 count for Howe right now with a runner still on first, one out on the board, and a 2-1 lead for Seville.
With the one walk, this is kind of concerning to have this amount of contact with the ball this early in the pitch count for Howe. But great for the Lumberjacks.
Breen gets set, faces the 0-2. That one is going to be fouled directly into the fence. Again, another pitch or another ball with the trajectory to go straight through our window right here into the press box.
It came from me. You didn't like my take, I guess.
Count still 0-2 here for Breen. We'll see what Howe dishes up here. That pitch going to be outside. 1-2 now the count, as Stockham retreats back to first base.
That's a good pitch ahead in the count, trying to get him to reach outside. He doesn't really want to throw to that lower strike zone anymore because they're seeing it now and starting to make contact.
Here's the 1-2 from Howe. And what does it do? It catches Breen swinging. So that's back-to-back strikeouts to get things going. And a heads-up play by Sudi as well, checking Stockham over at first. Stockham able to slide back in time. But two back-to-back strikeouts. What a way for Howe to get some confidence on the mound in his first appearance pitching for the Sox.
And that was an expert veteran placement on the ball, because as you see, Breen kind of missed a little bit to the left towards him, because I think that he thought that the pitch was going to be down and inside, but it was actually middle and down.
Cooper George up to bat. He is going to foul tip the first ball he sees, as Stockham was on his way to second base, thinking that was a ball. 0-1 the count with 2 outs now. Howe back-to-back strikeouts, looking for another to get the Tom Sox out of this inning.
Now Howe is in the driver's seat.
Howe delivers. This one's going to be looped straight into center field, and it's going to drop just in front of Israel, who is going to throw it back in. Stockham will tag up at second, and that is a single to put a runner in scoring position for Covington. That's George with the single there, as Cole Ketzner, the catcher, comes up to bat.
And I think that Howe is still in the driver's seat despite that contact. It's a little jarring that he has that amount of contact, and we haven't had much hits in the field of play, especially when landing. But now I still think, even though a runner's on second and first, that he's in a good position right now.
Howe delivers with 2 outs and 2 runners on. 0-1 after that strike. Runner in scoring position in the form of Nate Stockham for Covington.
Good stint, just stay poised.
Cole Ketzner looking to bring one home and tie this game. Instead, he is going to catch a bunch of air with that swing. 0-2 now the count.
They're still a little bit ahead of the pitches, but before they were behind, just trying to find that sweet spot in it. But they are getting to a point where they are going to time Howe's pitches. And it seems like it's going to be sooner rather than later.
Ketzner gets set, the 0-2 on the way. That is just outside to make the count 1-2. It's a good eye by Ketzner, not swinging on bat. Howe trying to tempt him with that outside ball.
So you see now, after that contact and after multiple fast pitches, I think now is where you go in the off-speed range.
Ketzner is going to hit that one directly over the head of Shelnut at third base. Giving it chase is Tanner Kim. Kim is going to try and throw in, but not before the bases can clear for Covington. Covington takes the lead. Kim almost had that throw in to Sudi behind the plate. And wow.
Howe did exactly what he should have done, but it just didn't turn out the way that he wanted to because of the placement. He did throw an off-speed pitch, but it was right down the pipe. And obviously, it wasn't the best stint, right over the third baseman in Shelnut. So when you get to that point, now momentum has completely shifted away from the Tom Sox and right into the Lumberjacks' lap. Obviously, since you've cleared the bases now from second to first with a blooper that's just outside of the reach, Shelnut.
Shauna jumped up trying to make yet another highlight play today, but was unable to stop a 2 RBI double from Cole Ketzner that cleared the base pass for Covington and now gives them the lead. 3-2 here in the top of the 7th inning. Howe now facing the top of this Lumberjacks order. It's Urena who pops it up, giving it chase. Is McLaughlin from first base, and he's able to catch it with his glove, leaning into the Tom Sox dugout. So a highlight play, but a tough break for the Sox. As Howe gives up 2 runs, 3-2 the score, and it's time to stretch here in Charlottesville.
Yep. And the toughest thing about, just before we go to break, the toughest thing is that Kim's throw, if it was on target to the catcher, would have made it just a tie game rather than down 3-2.
He had it spot on. Sudi jumping out of his shoes was just unable to corral it and get the ball down in time. Kim really with showing off that cannon, though. That was thrown from deep in left field and was able to almost make it to the plate in time. But we're going to take a quick break as the fans here in Charlottesville stretch and the Sox look to get this game back tied up in the bottom of the 7th.
Everybody! Thank you. Let's go, Sean. That's all right, boys. We can bounce back and do it.
A new pitcher in the game for the Covington Lumberjacks from St. Leo College, number 40, Nathaniel Gorczyka. Leading off for the Tom Sox, the shortstop, number 13, Kyle Edwards.
Crawford Humphreys, Joe Callahan back live in the Crutchfield press box. We have yet another new pitcher on the mound for Covington. It's Nathaniel Gorczyka coming up to try and keep the Tom Sox at bay after the Lumberjacks took the lead in the last inning thanks to a 2 RBI double that cleared the base pass and erased that 1-run lead that the Tom Sox once held. So 3-2 the score as the Sox look to get this thing even. And Gorczyka with a wild pitch to start things off. Missed the entire batter's box there and goes straight into the fence behind home plate. Leading things off for Charlottesville in this inning.
And again, those 2 runs are the first by either team where the ball is put in play.
Gorczyka facing Kyle Edwards from ODU as his first batter of the game. That pitch is going to be called strike after that wild first pitch that was called ball. So 1-1 is the count with no outs. Again, 3-2 the score in favor of the Lumberjacks, who took the lead on a crazy 2 RBI double in the top of the 7th. But now that we've stretched, it's time to keep things going. That's another pitch that goes past the catcher and into the fence. It's also low and in the dirt, so 2-1 the count in favor of Edwards, who is trying to get some momentum back on the Tom Sox side as the Sox start to look the end of the game in the eye here. Getting kind of close to that 9th inning, and the production needs to start now if they want it to happen.
They only have 3 hits and only 2 runs off of errors to show for it.
Edwards a swing and a miss there to make the count 2-2, obviously frustrated with himself, missing the timing on that pitch. Is Gorczyca able to even this count up?
Doesn't look like there's anything going on in the Lumberjacks dugout. So it might be this the last stint from the 7th on.
Gorczyca catches Edwards looking for the first out of this inning and the first strikeout of the game for him.
If he's putting pitches like that, I don't think they're going to need anything from the dugout.
Yeah, the momentum staying on the side of the Lumberjacks as we go back now to the top of this Tom Sox order. Menelik Israel, the leadoff hitter in today's game, is going to be the number 2 batter that Gorczyca faces here in the bottom of the 7th. 3-2, 1 out. And a swing and a miss to start things off by Israel.
Great placement, great speed, great swing. It's just that they don't have the timing down, and it's so unfortunate that in this stint in the game they don't have the timing down. But they need something. They're desperate to get some momentum out to try to come back in this game.
Yeah, this pitcher chess match continues as Israel shows bunt.
Good call back.
Lets that ball go past him for ball 1 of this at-bat. One's across the board, 3-2 the score. Gorczyca, the new pitcher, on the mound for the Lumberjacks. Israel's going to let that one go low and in the dirt. The count will go 2-1.
Tom Sox really need something to be put in the field to play in the next 2 innings. They cannot rely on the 9th inning to try to tie the game because they know what happens in the 9th inning, but they might not be the beneficiary of it if the game isn't tied. They need to go into the 9th inning tying or leading.
Here's the 2-1, another swing and a miss on this at-bat for Israel. 2-2 now.
Great pitches by the Lumberjacks.
So 2-2 the count. Gorczyca looking to get a second strikeout back-to-back. Keep this momentum in his favor, and he does. That's back-to-back strikeouts for the Lumberjacks. Gorczyca making light work of this Tom Sox lineup thus far. He's fanned both batters he's faced, and now Gavin Abrams looking to change that up. The number 2 hitter on this Tom Sox lineup. He's the 3rd batter that Gorczyca will face with 2 outs on the board and a 3-2 hole.
This is just not the way that you want to start the inning, especially this late in the game, as the Tom Sox say, but just such great pitching from the Lumberjacks. Great pitching from the Tom Sox, too. It's just that now the Lumberjacks have gotten more from the offensive side.
A swing and a miss by Abrams to start his at-bat off against Gorczyca. That's 1 strike on the board, 2 outs. Gorczyca moving in rhythm here. Here's the delivery. That one's going to be low and in the dirt to even the count at 1-1.
What I do like about the Tom Sox side is they do not stop fighting. When they were down and where they were up, they keep going. We saw the comeback in Harrisburg, even though it didn't end in a victory.
That pitch is fouled straight back into the fence behind home plate and will make the count 1-2. Gorczyca on the heels of yet another strikeout. This time to end the inning for the Tom Sox.
Another thing to sit and admire at is just the strength of the pitches from both teams. Gorczyca comes in again with heaters.
Gorczyca winds up, deals, check swing. Did he go? They're going to say he didn't. So Abrams will live to see another day at the plate. And the count will move to 2-2.
And again, more heaters coming from first inning pitchers in this game. Gorczyca has the arm as everyone else in this game has.
Gorczyca delivers, and this one is going to be hit by Abrams into center field. That's going to drop just in front of the glove of Urena. And that will give some life to the Tom Sox as Abrams trots over to first with a single. And that will bring up Satchel Norman, the designated hitter.
What's great for the Lumberjacks is it seems like the Tom Sox have only gotten this momentum from putting the ball in place late or maybe too late in innings. A lot of them have came when there's only 2 or only 1 out to play with because there's already 2 outs on the board. such an important stint for the Tom Sox, though, to get that momentum so late in the inning.
Norman takes a strike on the first pitch he sees from Gorczyka. Big single to hopefully try and swing some momentum back in the favor of the Sox. With Abrams, the Clemson Tiger, sitting over at first base. Norman awaits the pitch and is going to swing and miss that one for strike 2. So a quick 0-2 hole for Norman. And once again, Gorczyka on the heels of closing out this inning for the Lumberjacks.
Even with the hit, that has been a great inning for Gorczyka. It's just another stint where it's another pitcher throwing heaters and they don't have the timing down yet. Even though they did make contact once, it's just another chess match from the Lumberjacks coaching staff where now I don't know if the Tom Sox have enough time to come back, but if you're on the Tom Sox side, you have to get this timing down as quick as possible.
Gorczyka nearly takes Norman's head off with that pitch. He has to duck out of the way of that one. That's the first ball of this at-bat for Norman. The count now 1-2.
Gorczyka almost made Norman have to get a dentist appointment tomorrow.
Yeah, that was some serious chin music from him. So 1-2 the count, 2 outs, runner on first for the Sox. What will Gorczyka dish up here? Abrams going to take off towards second as that one belted foul. I mean, Norman got every bit of that. Just too far over to the left, and instead it's into the parking lot.
And Abrams, again, when we said in earlier innings about the Lumberjacks, he was humming for second. Abrams might have, if that ball was in play, in fair territory, Abrams might have made it to third on a single.
Norman, 2022 first-team All-State out of Florida Southwestern. He was a 2-time Rawlings All-American in high school. As
Great
that ball
bounce.
is going to get over the glove of Cooper George at third. Getting over to third is Abrams. He took over to second before Norman had even made contact with the ball. And so now runners on corners for the Tom Sox. And just like that, Seville showing some life here in the bottom of the 7th inning.
Such a great at-bat from Norman. Stayed poised after going down 0-2. Then gets a great contact hit, but just foul, and then gets the bounce of the century. Now what needs to happen is Bracetta needs to put the ball in play. This would be a great momentum switch into the Tom Sox side.
Man, if we could have something like last night for Bracetta with that moonshot of a home run he put off in Harrisonburg, that would be something else to blow this game open as he lets the first pitch fall inside for ball 1. What a bounce that was for Norman, though, and credit to Abrams, who was already on his way to second base. Like you said, using his speed, he was more than halfway there before Norman had even made contact with the ball, which allowed him to make his way to third on that single. And we have another runner going. That's Norman taking off towards second, and he could even slow down. The catcher, Ketzner, didn't even make a play at it. He was jogging into second base. So now 2 runners in scoring position. 2-0 the count in favor of Bracetta with 2 outs on the board. Tom Sox building some momentum. Crowd coming back to life here at Charlottesville High School.
I feel something brewing.
Bracetta is going to take a crack at that. He's going to foul it straight behind home plate.
That might have been the call of the century if he just sent 1 yard. He made contact, and I was like, gee, maybe. They need it, though. Tom Sox, if he gets something deep to fall in anywhere in the outfield that's not the gloves, it's a extreme momentum switch for the Tom Sox.
2-1 the count. Bracetta takes another big swing and fouls another one to even the count at 2-2.
He's getting the timing down, but if I was Bracetta, I would look for another off-speed pitch. It looks like that's where the trend is going after 3 heaters. Obviously, they don't need to because he doesn't exactly have the timing down yet, but it looks like he's getting closer and closer, and with a power hitter like Bracetta is, that's the last thing the Lumberjacks need.
2s across the board, 2 runners in scoring position. Bracetta is going to let that ball fall in the strike zone. Like you said, a little curve in there. and that is going to end the inning. That is
Great pitch.
Gorczyka's third strikeout of the inning, despite some two-out heroics from Charlottesville to scare the Lumberjacks a little bit. The score remains 3-2 after 7 full innings. We'll be back right after this quick break.
The Tom Sox would like to thank the Newhouse Company for their support. Newhouse understands that finding the home of your dreams or selling a home you value so much is a very important process, just as much as choosing the people who help you to accomplish it. Their dedicated team is here to fulfill your real estate needs. Give them a call at 434-978-7351. That's 434-978-7351. Lumberjacks, the second baseman, number 2, Gavin Baird.
Crawford Humphreys, Joe Callahan Jr. back once again in the Crutchfield press box here at Charlottesville High School. 3-2 the score after some late two-out heroics from the Sox to close out the 7th inning, putting 2 runners in scoring position and stranding them both after some great pitching by Nathaniel Gorczyka, the new pitcher on the mound for Covington. Christian Howe back on the mound, the Kentucky Wildcat for the Sox, looking to keep the Lumberjacks at bay and keep this a 1-run ball game here in the top of the 8th inning. It's Gavin Bayard, the number 2 hitter on the Lumberjacks lineup today, who will lead things off for Covington.
Yeah, and to just go back to it, what an inning by Gorczyka, even though there had the little scare with, having 2 runners in scoring position, down only 1, and to put them both away. And again, it's a stint now that you get those momentum swings way too late in the inning.
Bayard gets set, and that first pitch will go ball. 1-1 the count here. First ball of the at-bat. Another delivery from Howe. This one cracked into center field. Giving it chase was Israel, but he jumped too early and let that one go over his head. Bayard streaking towards second. He's able to get there and does a little dance towards the Covington dugout. A leadoff double to keep the momentum going for the Lumberjacks. And, man, what a response after that late heat up by the Tom Sox at the end of the 7th.
And this is another one. We talked about the opportunities that the Tom Sox got earlier in the game with the errors. Now you get to the stint where the Lumberjacks are taking the opportunities from offense now later in the game, and that's the last thing that the Tom Sox need. But great offense in the last 2 innings from the Lumberjacks to put themselves ahead 3-2 in the top of the 8th, and now have another runner in scoring position.
Ramon Garza has seen enough from Christian Howe. They're going to bring a new pitcher into the game. Check the roster real quick to see who we got coming up for the Sox.
It's going to be number 16, Brandon Holiday.
And Braden Holiday coming in from Tallahassee Community College, a native of Odessa, Florida. On the season, 41 innings pitched for Tallahassee CC, a 5.27 ERA. That's 47 hits, 11 walks, 30 strikeouts. After this summer, he will transfer over to High Point in North Carolina, and he is the son of late MLB Hall of Famer Roy Halladay.
And what Holliday does now, this is the first time that we've seen the Tom Sox make a different decision than the Lumberjacks. It's been back and forth where what pitcher is going to be put in the game for either team. This is the first time where a pitcher from the previous innings that hasn't had the previous team switch stays on the mound and instantly gives up a center field shot right over the head of Urena. And now when you have a new pitcher down again, it's what you have to do in this stint. And hopefully that Braden can now get the heroics from, or skills in his position that his father had at his position in this game right now.
Yeah, the son of MLB royalty on the mound now for the Sox. It was Israel who made the jump just slightly early, just could not time that ball, that double that came off the bat of Gavin Bayard.
A very difficult situation for Urena because it was right over his head, right where he was standing, and it was a line shot. So he had to make the decision to jump very quickly, and it just wasn't his time to jump right there. And you know, it's a very hard play to make when a line drive of that velocity comes straying at you exactly where you're standing, because he had to spin a couple of times to try to jump for that ball.
Rodriguez, the number 3 hitter on this Lumberjack lineup today, up to bat against Holliday. It's the first batter he faces, and his first pitch is fouled over the fence behind home plate for strike number 1. Holliday, the 6'3" right-hander, looking to keep things together for the Sox. Lumberjacks with a runner in scoring position, and the Sox in danger of letting this one-run deficit grow even larger. As Holliday gets set, 0-1 on the way. This ball is going to be fouled in the exact same spot. That's going into the woods directly behind the Crutchfield press box. And the count now moves to 0-2.
See, Holliday's a little bit slower than the pitchers that we've seen from either team in the past, but he also has an awkward throwing motion that's actually a benefit at the pitcher position because, you know, it kind of distracts the batters.
Bayard's going to take a lead over at second. This ball going to be fouled in the exact same spot. We've seen 3 foul balls go in virtually the same place 3 times in a row. The count stays at 0-2.
Maybe that's his mom. He's trying to give himself a souvenir for later.
Holliday again trying to get out on the board for the Sox. Swing some momentum their way as we near the finish line here at Charlottesville High School. Top of the 8th, 0-2, 3-2 still the score. Bayard takes a lead on second, and that ball is going to be hit by Rodriguez. Israel this time going to be able to get under it. He's going to throw it over to third. Shellnutt's going to retrieve it, but Bayard's going to hang up at second base. So Israel finally gets that fly ball that he was unable to get last time, puts 1 out on the board, and the runner stays on second for Covington, with Victor Rodriguez, the designated hitter, now up to bat for the Lumberjacks.
See, great response from Israel. Getting that stint where now he had that time to settle because it was a little bit to the right, not right over his head as the previous one was, and it was also a slower line drive. Still a line drive, but a slower one where he was able to set himself.
So 1 out on the board, a little more comfort for Holliday on the mound. As Bayard takes a lead, Rodriguez is going to rope that one foul. It's going right into the Covington dugout. Or sorry, the Covington bullpen, which is empty right now. The Sox have nothing going either. We'll see if Holliday is going to be their guy for the rest of this game. Holliday gets set, 0-1 the count, 1 out on the board, runner in scoring position for the Lumberjacks. Rodriguez, a big cut, comes up empty. A great pitch by Holliday to put 2 strikes on the board.
Great placement. You can see that he's hovering over the plate, put it right near Rodriguez's elbow. Great placement on a fastball by Holliday.
0-2, 1 out, big pitch coming for Holliday. He wants his first strikeout, and he's going to
Great
get
pitch
it.
again.
That pitch straight down the pipe. Rodriguez just sits there looking, and that's going to put 2 outs on the board. So now it's the Lumberjacks in danger of stranding a runner in scoring position. Bayard still held up at second as Nate Stockham comes up to the plate.
I think Rodriguez thought that it was going to be an outside ball by Halladay to try to get him to reach, but it was put in such a great space on the outside line of the strike zone. A very great pitch by Halladay.
Stockham has seen the base pass earlier in this game. He's definitely trying to get back there. 2 outs on the board. That first pitch going to be low for ball 1. Bayard keeps tempting a steal over at second. He's taking some pretty generous leads. We'll see if he ends up doing it. We'll see what the call is from the third base coach.
There's a lot of times that the actual caught ball by Israel, and now another one gets sent his way.
The 1-0 belted deep into center field. Israel once again getting his glove underneath that. And after that early missed catch, well, he gets 2 outs after that.
What I was going to say is Bayard actually on second threatened to tag and go to third at the first catch from Israel. And great catches and great poise by Halladay to stay on the mound with class and, again, poise and get the Tom Sox out of that inning to now try to start something in the momentum side on offense, which, again, they haven't had at pretty much at all this game until late into innings.
After that big double and a runner in scoring position for most of the inning, Halladay able to come in and clean things up for the Sox, who keep this a 1-run ball game heading into the bottom of the 8th inning. 3-2 still the score, and, well, now's the time for the Sox.
You need momentum here.
Especially, you don't want to be searching for momentum with your back against the wall in the bottom of the 9th inning.
You need something in the field of play. You can't afford just walks and that's it. You also can't afford another inning where you get 2 outs on the board and then you start something. And especially coming in to the same pitcher in Gorzyka, you need to start something now. You can't wait until the 9th inning. It needs to happen, at least tying it in the 8th.
Gorzyka with a handful of strikeouts in his last appearance on the mound last inning. He's definitely going to look to continue that momentum and keep this a run ball game as the Sox dugout looking to get the Charlottesville faithful into this game and get the energy going. It's getting close to that time here in the bottom of the 8th. It's almost now or never time for the Tom Sox, and we'll see what they are able to answer with.
As you saw the poise of Gorzyka last inning when he was on the mound and had 2 runners in scoring position after a great hop above the third baseman in Cooper George. And now you get to the situation where you need to be poised as much as you have been this entire series, or this entire stint where you had it in this game. But every pitcher for the Lumberjacks has so far.
John.
It's a great start for him.
John Newton now up to bat for the Sox. He is replacing Tanner Kim, the left fielder. Newton comes to Charlottesville from UNC Wilmington. He's a North Carolina native. In 35 games this season for UNCW, he had a 2.259 batting average, 18 runs, 6 home runs, 23 RBIs. The Sox could definitely use some of that batting power.
And if it wasn't Brissetta, it has to be him right now.
Here in the bottom of the 8th, 1-2 the count. Newton working against Gorzyka here. And Gorzyka has given the Sox some things that they have not been able to answer.
It's going to come down to who's going to be more poised in the offensive side. And right now, the Tom Sox have not gotten anything done.
Here's the 1-2. This one's going to be chopped by Newton over the pitcher's mound. Coming over to get it is Abrams. Is the throw in time? It is.
Good play by Bayard.
Sorry, that's Bayard, not Abrams. Bayard able to get there in time and get the out. And that puts 1 out on the board. So Hunter Sudi, the catcher from Alabama, now up to bat. 1 out on the board. Sox still down 1 with no one on base.
It's just another unfortunate stint where now you have another out on the board, and you can't afford these little choppy, ground outs in the infield. You need to put something into the outfield at least to get something railing. And if you keep making contact, you keep making stints into the outfield, then you live with, the loss on the record. But they haven't gotten anything done.
Gorczyca delivers a strike there that catches Sudi swinging. 1-1 the count, once across the board. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. And a 1-run deficit for the Tom Sox here in the bottom of the 8th inning as Sudi gets set for the 3rd pitch of this at-bat. There's the 1-1, and it is outside to make the count 2-1.
And just for a win, lose, tie, whatever it is, what a chess match this game has been, especially from the mound for both teams.
Sudi awaiting the 2-1. Gorczyca delivers, and another swing and a miss from Sudi. 2-2 now the count.
They're getting closer to the timing, as we saw with Howe right before the run that the Lumberjacks had. They started to get the timing down. They started to make contact. Now is where you have to start making contact, at least.
Gorczyca gets set. Here's the 2-2. That one's going to be fouled into the parking lot. Waiting for some glass shattering. There's none. So,
and not the contact that you really want, because it doesn't go in the direction that you want, but you're still getting closer to knowing that. But again, it's if it doesn't happen at this at bat, it's just another unfortunate. You get put in another 2-out hole.
2-2. Gorczyca delivers. That one falling inside. So 3-2, a big payoff pitch on the way for Gorczyca as the Sox look to cling to any momentum possible offensively.
Again, you need something here.
Sudi gets set. Payoff pitch on the way from Gorczyca. That's going to be called strike. A big strikeout by Gorczyca to put 2 outs on the board for the Lumberjacks and move them 1 out closer to a huge win here over the Sox in their home opener.
I think the other frustrating thing is I'm kind of with Sudi. That ball was a little bit outside, but again, umpire's been calling that all game. It's something that, human error can come into the game of baseball. You talk about, electronical or robot umps, but he's been calling that all game, so you have to know that.
Tyler McLaughlin's going to foul the first pitch he sees from Gorczyca. 0-1 the count. McLaughlin batting with his back against the wall here in the bottom of the 8th. 2 outs on the board, and that 1-run deficit still looming over the Sox here at Charlottesville High School. Gorczyca delivers that ball inside, and that's going to be called ball to even things at 1-1.
Off-speed, good decision by Gorczyca to try to stymie, because he's been throwing a lot of heat this inning as well.
The delivery from Gorczyca is low for ball 2.
Another off-speed pitch. I think he realizes that they're trying and very close to getting the timing down of his fastball, so now they're moving over to off-speed. But again, as we saw with Howe, he needs to stay disciplined and not just throw it in an off-speed right down the pipe.
Gorczyca delivers. This one cracked off the bat of McLaughlin. It goes straight into the glove of Lavengord, who is able to get it over to first. For a second there, it looked like he bobbled it, but was able to get the timing just right and give it over to Breen at first. So that's 3 up, 3 down for the Tom Sox there in the bottom of the 8th. We now head to the 9th, where the Tom Sox have their work cut out for them. We'll be back with the last inning of today's game after the break.
The University of Virginia losing currently to East Carolina by a score of 4-2 in the bottom of the 8th. The Virginia Tech Hokies leading Columbia 18-3 in the bottom of the 5th. Louisiana Tech and Texas tied at 1 apiece. Oklahoma leading number 13 Florida 8-4. Number 1 Tennessee ahead of Campbell 7-4. Auburn beating Florida State 11-1. Texas A&M ahead of Texas A&M trailing Louisiana 6-4. Southern Miss ahead of LSU 6-2. UConn dominating Maryland 9-10. 5-2. VCU ahead of UNC 3-0. Oklahoma State ahead of Arkansas 7-5. And finally, Notre Dame beating number 16, the Georgia Southern Eagles, 2-1. Now pitching for the Tom Sox from the Horned Frogs of Texas Christian University, number 12, Gray Thomas.
Crawford Humphreys, Joe Callahan Jr. back here in the Crutchfield press box as we begin the 9th inning of this rubber match between the Tom Sox and the visiting Covington Lumberjacks. This game still knotted at 3-2, still a one-run deficit for the Sox, who now have a new pitcher on the mound. It's Gray Thomas, the Horned Frog from TCU, a native of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. This season down in Fort Worth, he pitched 4 innings, allowed 5 hits, 2 earned runs with 5 walks and 5 strikeouts.
And it looks like he was their closer, and it looks like that's what he needs to be for the Tom Sox right now, because they cannot afford more runs on the board, especially when you go into last night's game where you lost in the 9th inning. They're trying to recreate that magic, and getting put in a hole now where you are desperate for a run, you cannot put yourself in a deeper hole, and especially in the 9th, because again, obviously saying you only have one shot at it.
Thomas certainly has his work cut out for him as he faces the number 6 hitter in this Lumberjacks lineup, Asaph Loengart. Loengart's going to let that first pitch go low for ball 1.
And we're back to heaters. First pitches coming from a new pitcher have been fastballs, fastballs, fastballs.
1-0 on the way. It's going to be outside. Count now 2-0.
And the other pattern is it starts to take him 2 or 3 pitches to find the strike zone with it.
Thomas still looking to get comfortable on the mound. It's a fast throw, but it's just inside for ball 3. So now a 3-0 hole for Thomas. In danger of letting the leadoff man and Loengart take first. 3-0 delivers, and that is low and in the dirt, so Loengart will take his place at first base.
4 straight pitches away from the strike zone. I think at this point you live with that, but it's unfortunate that it is the first batter. He just needs to get himself poised on the mound, because obviously he hasn't been out there until now, and he has to find the strike zone, but he also can't throw meatballs over, because again, they cannot afford something in the field to play.
Justin Breen, the first baseman, up to bat now. And Thomas finally gets a strike on the board, this against Breen. Base paths are now occupied for the Lumberjacks with Loengart at first. Breen in an 0-1 hole. No outs on the board and a 1-run lead for Covington. Breen looking to extend that here. Little check swing. That ball is going to get away from Sudi, the catcher, and he's going to be unable to collect that in time. Loengart able to scamper over to second base. So now the Lumberjacks with a runner in scoring position, and the Tom Sox in danger of this 1-run deficit getting even bigger.
Thomas looks like he's trying to be the savior that they don't need right now. They just need somebody consistent and is not going to hum one right around the middle as he does that.
Thomas with some heat. He gets Breen swinging. So 1-2 the count after that pitch that got past the catcher Sudi on just one pitch ago and advanced the runner to second. Loengart taking a lead over there at second. Breen's going to watch this one go low for ball 2 to even this count.
A good thing for the Tom Sox would be if they keep that base runner at second and don't have anything in the field to play.
Breen awaits the 2-2. Here's the delivery. And he's going to foul this one over our heads in the Crutchfield press box. So the count will stay at 2-2. Thomas been showing some heat so far. The biggest thing, though, is just getting control of his pitches.
Hasn't found that control yet. He's had about 2 strikes at this point right now. Needs to get a hone on it.
That ball way out of
That is not what you
there.
want at all.
Breen having to duck out of the way. Almost looked like it slipped out of his hand. Way out of control. And just like that, Lowengaard is 90 feet away from making this a 2-run ball game in favor of the Lumberjacks.
This is the worst position that you can be in, especially with a pitcher that hasn't gotten the control in his pitches yet. He looks like he's trying to do way too much at the mound right now.
So 3-2, payoff pitch on the way. This one,
almost hits him again.
Wow, that one nearly caught Breen in the chest as he flicks the bat towards the dugout and takes his place at first. So runners on the corners. You got Lowengaard on third. You've got Breen on first. And now you've got Cooper George coming up to bat with a chance for a major RBI here in the top of the 9th inning. Ramon Garza is going to trot over to the mound and try and calm Thomas down a little bit as the Tom Sox, with their backs against the wall once again, it appears we're going to have a pinch runner as well.
You had Edwards have a conversation with Thomas right before Garza sent himself to the mound to have a little conference. I think right now where you sit with Thomas is he's trying to do way too much right now. He does not need to be the savior for the Tom Sox. That needs to come from the offensive side. What he needs to do is he needed to stay poised at the mound. Right now it seems like he's trying to do way too much. He's trying to be that savior where he's trying to put fastballs anywhere he wants to. He's trying to get them to reach on them. He knows that he doesn't have, the Lumberjacks don't have the timing on him yet, but it's just unfortunate right now that he's trying to do way too much and putting balls in dirt, putting balls behind Udi. You can't have that stint right now because, again, you can't afford another run to come on the board in the Lumberjacks' favor because that kills your momentum in the 9th.
Jacob Pazier is the pinch runner for Breen over at first. Runners on the corners here, and that ball is going to be belted foul towards the empty Tom Sox bullpen. Up to bat right now for the Lumberjacks is, as we mentioned earlier, Cooper George. Cooper George could have a momentous RBI here. 0-1 the count. No outs on the board, runners on the corners. He awaits the 0-1, and that one is going to get over the head of Shelnut. Lowengaard's going to score. And they are going to be able to advance runners to second and third. That's Breen making his way to third. George able to get to second. So that's an RBI double for George. Excuse me, that's not Breen. That's Pazier, the pinch runner who was able to secure third. But it's, of course, courtesy of that Breen run, Breen hit. So
what
now,
a hit that feels like the dagger from Breen.
It certainly does, especially with no outs on the board and now 2 runners in scoring position. It certainly does feel like the dagger with George. I mean,
it feels
huge
like
RBI.
Yeah, it feels like the Lumberjacks are starting to have. Ooh, I thought that was the contact. It was fouled out towards the top of the back fence, but it started to feel like now this is the momentum that the Tom Sox have been wanting from the offensive side. They've gotten nothing running on the plate, and it seems like the Lumberjacks are starting to have a late dagger momentum shift.
Ketzner is going to hit this one into center field, and that one is going to drop before Israel. It takes a bad hop. Israel isn't even able to gather that one. Becerra coming over from right to retrieve it and clean things up, and back-to-back doubles have blown this game open in favor of the Lumberjacks. It's now 6-2. What was once a one-run deficit is now 4 here in the top of the 9th inning.
Just what a great offensive showing from the Lumberjacks in this inning right here. First it's Breen, then it's, with Pazier scoring, and now you get that deep shot to center field where Israel couldn't get under it, and it goes over his head again. And that's the second time where a ball, the first one went over his head. This one bounced over his head. But 2 balls that just so close to being caught or at least fielded by Israel. Now resulted in a lot of runs on the board for the Lumberjacks.
We're back to the top of the order here. This is Urena showing bunt on that first pitch. Instead, it's going to go strike. So Thomas able to find the strike zone. Still no outs, though. Still a runner in scoring position, as there has been for most of this inning. And now Thomas having to face the top of this Lumberjack order on top of all of that, as he almost hits Urena in the chest. That'll even the count at 1-1. 6-2 the score, a 4-run lead for the Lumberjacks, who are now just a few outs away from snapping a 6-game losing streak to the Tom Sox.
What a showing it's been in the 9th again for the Lumberjacks, and such great coaching from their staff tonight.
They got hot when it needed to get hot, as 2-1 the count for Urena. Thomas looking to find the strike zone yet again, as Ramon Garza in the Tom Sox dugout looks on. Urena's kind of swinging out of his shoes for that one. He jumped back as he swung the bat, and that is going to go foul directly over the Tom Sox dugout. 2-2 the count, no outs.
And what's unfortunate for the Tom Sox is now the pressure is all off of the Lumberjacks. They can basically end the inning right now and still have a good shot at winning this game coming in to the top, to the bottom of the 9th, rather.
Thomas again letting that pitch sail way inside. Urena having to jump out of the way of yet another one as the count goes full.
And there's still no outs on the board.
We've said big payoff pitch a bunch of times, but this one's really big as that one gets past Sudi, and it's going to put a runner over on third. That's Cole Ketzner, who had that big double. He is now sitting on third base, and once again, we've said this before, runners on the corners and no outs on the board still. And no action in the Tom Sox bullpen. They have cleared everyone out of there.
Mm-hmm. And now a conversation coming up to the mound now. To me, it's just, I don't know what stint now. Do you take him out now, or do you ride with the rest of the inning? Because he does find the strike zone in there, but
Urena steals second, so now runners on second and third. So once again, 2 runners in scoring position. Lumberjacks have their foot on the gas, and they certainly aren't letting it up right now. A 4-run lead and a chance to tack on a few more here with Gavin Bayard up to bat.
And again, it's another stint where it's just so unfortunate for the Tom Sox that this run has had to happen when it did. Because now it's just so – it just feels like the momentum has been taken out of the souls of every player on the Tom Sox.
Thomas drops that one low and outside. The count is 2-1. He's looking visibly frustrated on the mound as he tries to get control over his pitches. 2 runners in scoring position, still no outs. And to your earlier point, with the bullpen cleared out, it seems that head coach Ramon Garza is committed to Thomas finishing out this game for the Sox.
I think you pretty much are in the situation where you have to. You can't just send in a pitcher that hasn't warmed up. Obviously, they saw that Thomas was going to be the closer that they needed. And just, again, as that ball goes outside as he walks, it's just so he's trying to do way too much in such the wrong time.
Rodriguez up to bat as the walk from Thomas of Bayard loads the bases with no outs. So a chance for this to potentially become a 9-2 or 10-2 ball game, depending on how this at bat shakes out. As Thomas, that one down the middle, but it's going to bounce off the glove of Edwards, an unlucky bounce off the glove of the shortstop. That'll bring home 1 run, and once again reload the bases, an RBI double. It's just an unfortunate bounce off of Edwards' glove. It looked like he was right there as that ball chopped just past the pitcher's mound.
Yep, and this is the unfortunate stint where when the souls get, basically the momentum out of the souls of players get, ripped out from you in a stint like this, it's just everything just starts to become sloppy. And now Edwards with a little error there, a weird throw to the plate. It's just extremely not what the Tom Sox needed in this stint, but kudos to the Lumberjacks taking, advantage of every opportunity that the Tom Sox is giving them late in this game.
Number 16, Will Hudler.
Will Hudler, the pinch hitter, in for Victor Rodriguez, the designated hitter. As Hudler sets up to the plate. 7-2. I mean, to say the Lumberjacks have blown this game open would be an understatement, especially with the bases loaded and no outs and a 5-run lead. 4 runs here in the top of the 9th. An offensive explosion for Covington as Hudler takes the first pitch he sees from Thomas for a strike. That's another pitch that's going to get past Sudi, and that is another run that's going to come home for Covington to make this an 8-2 ball game.
And another sloppy play by the Tom Sox. And I thought that it actually, I thought that the pitch actually took a hit to the elbow, and I thought that that was going to be a walk as well. I didn't really think that it was just, I didn't think that it was just the errant pitch, but I thought that it hit him.
Thomas with the pitch there finds the strike zone, so 1-2 the count. And yet another pitch that finds the strike zone. So there's a big strikeout there. A little bit of a silver lining for Gray Thomas. He gets that strikeout. Hopefully a little bit of a confidence booster. Of course, it's his first appearance for the Tom Sox this summer. Certainly not the last, and still plenty of time left in this season for these guys to develop and continue to better their skills.
Yeah, and the last at-bat, Hudler was in as a pinch hitter.
That ball by Stockham is going to be hit directly into the glove of Israel, who's going to try and make the throw in time. He does not. So a sac fly there brings another run home for the Lumberjacks.
This has just been a complete unraveling from the Tom Sox on the defensive side of the ball. It was so clean up until the last 2 innings, and then this has just blew the game completely away to the Lumberjack side.
So that sac fly from Nate Stockham makes it a 9-2 ball game with Asaph Loengart up to bat. He's going to pop this one up. Sudi's going to give it chase, but it's going to fall just over the fence. He was quick to get to the fence in hopes that ball would fall within the field of play. It does not. So the count goes 0-1. Thomas returns to the mound, this time with 2 outs on the board and just 1 runner in scoring position at second.
Thomas's only motive right now should be just get out of the inning.
That ball,
And
I mean,
again,
Thomas
it's
going
not-
head hunting there on Loengart, nearly took his head off. It honestly sounded like it clipped something. I don't know if it was
I think it clipped the bat.
and
but
they're going to call it a ball. They're going to call it 1-1 with 2 outs. That ball, that was dangerous.
yeah, right at the head. And again, it just looks like Thomas is still trying to do way too much. He's putting, he's trying to. It feels like he's just at pitching practice trying to put numbers back on the gun. It's another sloppy pitch by Thomas.
But the Tom Sox are going to get the out there because I believe it touched his bat.
Mm-hmm.
So that will end the inning at what was a 6-run inning for the Lumberjacks. I mean, talk about an offensive explosion. That might even be an understatement. 9-2 is the score. What was once a 3-2 ball game has been blown out of the water. It is now 9-2 heading into the bottom of the 9th.
Mm-hmm. And I think of what I want to see from the Tom Sox right now. I want to see a response. I want to see something going from the offensive side of the ball. We haven't had any momentum from the Tom Sox at the plate, and I want to see at least something. Something needs to go into the center field. Something needs to go into the left field or right field. Something that needs to go through the infield at all in any stint. A bunt, a sac fly, something needs to get done, because I want to see how this team at least responds to the adversity of now being down by a lot, seeing if they quit, seeing if what the toughness of this team is. Because if they can put on a little rally, even if they don't win the game, if they can put out a little rally, it'll tell you so much about this team. Rather than if they phone it in, it will also tell you a lot about this team, but not for the benefit for the worse.
From the Evansville Aces, number 26, Ryan Schneider.
Ryan Schneider, the new pitcher on the mound today for the Lumberjacks, as they keep the arms coming. Another point as to why Thomas stayed in for so long. This is a long summer. You got to keep as many guys rested as possible, and I'm sure that's in the back of Ramon Garza's head when he makes all of his pitching selections, is thinking about what this lineup's going to look like come July and then tournament time in late July, August. Just trying to keep as many guys fresh as possible and not run through too many arms in the second game of the season. Schneider on the mound now, and the Lumberjacks are 3 outs away from snapping a 6-game losing streak to the Tom Sox. Conversely, the Tom Sox are 3 outs away from their first 0-2 start since 2015.
And it's an unfortunate stint, but you have to give the hats off to Rennie Tolentino and this team from the Covington Lumberjacks. And these two teams play each other again in Covington tomorrow night. And what you would want to see is this team still put up a fight, because you're still trying to learn how to win the next game. You do not want to go 0-3, especially in the Valley League, and especially with the lack of offense production that you've had in the last 2 games. And you want to see something. I just need to see something if I'm Ramon Garza, because you need to have a conversation with the team either after or before the next game, or this game after, and then before the game tomorrow, to try to see what went wrong in the ninth of this.
The first pitch from Schneider is low for a ball. As he faces Tyler Shelnut, the third baseman, who has had quite a workout today. A lot of balls going his way.
A lot of bad hops his way as well.
He's had a couple of great throws, a couple of bad hops, and a couple of balls that just sailed right over his head.
He got just behind that one.
It's been that kind of day. 1-1 the count for Shelnut. With no outs on the board, Schneider getting his legs under him here. And first batter he faces in this game. That pitch low and away to make the count 2-1.
I do think a lot of the fielding mistakes that were made by the Tom Sox this game are fixable. It's not something that you can't coach up, but that needs to see if they quit on offense in this inning. Doesn't look like they did, though, just behind that one again. Count moved to 2-2 now.
Shelnut continuing a long-standing pipeline of Florida Gators to this Tom Sox roster. 2-2 the count. That's a big swing and a miss for Shelnut. That'll be the first out of the bottom of the ninth, the first strikeout for Schneider in today's game.
We've mentioned this sentence so much in this game, but they are just behind Schneider's pitches because they don't have the timing down yet. And it's, again, I don't think they've gotten the timing down of any pitcher that hasn't been in an inning where it's 2 outs left and they immediately pull that pitcher the next inning.
Kyle Edwards from ODU up to bat now. He will take the first pitch from Schneider for ball 1.
It does look like the Tom Sox are putting up a fight and they're not just honing down.
Edwards going to let that ball go high for a ball.
What you would see by a team that's not putting up a fight is either swinging at every uncontested pitch that's extremely outside or extremely down, or just not swinging at anything. Right now, that's not what they're doing.
That pitch from Schneider is going to find the strike zone and put a strike on the board at this at-bat. 2-1 with one out. It's another strike there against Edwards. So the count now even at 2-2. Still a 7-run deficit, glaring on that scoreboard over in center left.
Another outside strike called by this umpire that might have been a little bit outside, but again, he stayed consistent this entire game.
Edwards going to foul that one over the right set of bleachers here at Charlottesville High School. And the count will stay 2-2 with one out. Edwards at the bottom of this Tom Sox lineup. Israel on deck, the #1 hitter on the Sox. Here's a delivery from Schneider. That ball outside, curving. Now make it a full count, 3-2. Big payoff pitch on the way. And like you mentioned, this is a big sign of how invested the Sox are in a blowout game in the bottom of the 9th inning. Big swing and a miss there for Edwards. Edwards frustrated with himself, just misjudging the speed there from Schneider.
And again, that shows me 100% of the time that these players are not giving up.
Exactly.
That was a power swing, swinging for maybe the fences to try to jolt something when it's a 9-2 ball game, where it's now you need to start doing something, and now you get to the point where you're taking power swings. And usually, if you get a team that's just honing it in, that's not what you see.
Israel, the center fielder, up to bat with 2 outs on the board. Schneider dealing a ball in his first pitch to the #1 hitter on this Tom Sox lineup today. The second pitch, check swing. They're going to say he did not go, so that will be called ball as well.
A lot of check swings calls in this game.
So 2-0 the count here with 2 outs for Israel. That ball outside. It'll move to 3-0.
If I was Schneider, I'd feel out every batter that I could at this point. Try to see what he can do to try to win the game tomorrow night if he goes back in.
That ball straight down the pipe for strike 1 of this at-bat.
Or even if Schneider doesn't go in on tomorrow night's game, to try to tell his fellow teammates what to do at the mound, what they're looking for, what they reach on again, to try to prepare them for the game tomorrow.
Big swing and a miss there by Israel. He was trying to get all of that. Comes up empty. And now 2 strikes against him. Schneider with a chance to put this thing away here in the bottom of the 9th inning in Charlottesville in front of a Charlottesville home crowd that is watching these Tom Sox for the first time this season. Israel's going to hit that one, and Gavin Baird with a jumping catch to end this thing in the Lumberjacks' favor. 9-2 your final score. That thanks to a 6-run performance in the top of the 9th inning by the visiting Covington Lumberjacks. Ramon Garza and the Tom Sox fall to 0-2 for the first time since 2015. On the other side, the Covington Lumberjacks and a 6-game losing streak to this Tom Sox team. And as we
take away that 9th inning, they have only been outscored by 2 runs. And this team, again, in that bottom of the 9th, showed so much fight to me, where this team isn't going to give up, even if they're down 3, 9, 18, 24, or just up by 3 in the 9th inning.
So this team will go back to Covington tomorrow for the next game and hope to avoid an 0-3 start to this season. But Joe, going into that game tomorrow, what should Ramon Garza, the new head coach of this Tom Sox team, and this team be looking for to try and turn this season around early? I've
said it in the pre-games for the last 2 games now. They've just come way too slow from the plate. I feel like they haven't gotten anything done in the momentum stage on offense this entire season of 2 games. But the really only thing that I can point to on this team that was great from offense was Becetta's home run, and it was a great shot at that. But they took early opportunities of errors in the game today. But other than that, they've really got nothing done from the bats. They need to make it a point of emphasis to get something going.
Momentum, the name of the game going forward for the Tom Sox, who will be back in action here in Charlottesville High School on Monday, 7 p.m. And of course, admission is free, courtesy of Carter Bank and Trust. We encourage all of you at home to come out for that game. The weather should be great, and baseball should be even better. But from myself, Crawford Humphreys, from Joe Callahan Jr., from the rest of us here in the Crutchfield press box, we say so long and good night as the Tom Sox fall 0-2. 9-2 your final score against the Covington Lumberjacks. Good night, everyone.
Good night.